What is up, everybody? Alright, so not necessarily going to do just the dragon today. I think we'll sneak some dragon in here and there, but I kind of want to... Because I haven't actually played NA in an incredibly long time, I need to do, like, strengthening quests. I don't have Han's strengthening quest done, right? Because I haven't been playing over here, so kind of want to get that stuff done. But we might sneak in a dragon here and there. Well, if you hear the song again, just say something, but I have no idea what that was. I don't have that kind of memory. Okay. We'll butcher the support list again in a minute, and we'll add more people if we do dragon stuff. But let me do my own thing for a bit here. We have so many. I mean, look at this shit. Look at this. Look at all this. These are all strengthening quests. And then there's some interludes in here that have buffs as well. So, yeah, we got some stuff to do. Although the only buff in here is actually for Gil, which we're probably not going to get because we want to keep the dragon. Feels bad. Well, I guess we'll do Hans first because that's just so damn important. Get that one done. Oh god, having this many people on my support list though. Why? Well, there's the 10th. You know what? Real quick. It's asking for it all the time. We'll do a quick Pinth dragon. Okay, I gotta be clear here. I don't think Pinth is gonna do that well, and I mean she's gonna do okay because it looks like this Pinth is super upgraded. But here's the thing about Pinth, and I've seen people actually like take shots at Pinth, trying to say she's not as good as people say she is, and blah 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 because of like her straight value and stuff. Like, they'll use her like they're trying to use Beowulf, and they're like, look, she doesn't do as good as Beowulf, she sucks! But Pinth's shtick is not like, oh, you kill the thing real good. That's really not what Pinth does. Pinth kills the thing kinda good, and then helps somebody else kill the thing real good at the same time, while also being immune to debuffs. That's like her whole thing, is she's not quite as good as Beowulf or someone like that as straight, you know, murder, which is balanced. She shouldn't be as good as Beowulf at straight murder, but then she does pretty good at straight murder, and then she makes someone else do even better at murder, and then she's very self-reliant at getting her NP, which makes a whole double DPS setup work very well, and as a bonus, she's immune to debuffs, so she's almost guaranteed to get her damage in. That's great. That's an awesome like thing for a unit. I think Pinth is one of the more useful 4-star berserkers because of that. But her straight value in just like how long does she live versus how much damage that she does, it's not that amazing because she doesn't have a survivability skill, she doesn't have an upgraded NP, she doesn't really have that much self-damage up because it's team-wide, right? It's a surprising amount of self-damage up considering that it's team-wide, but yeah, it's not the best here. Okay, let me see if I can, real quick, we'll see if I can figure out who's what. Well, Pinth is obviously going to be 2k fo'd. This wouldn't make any sense otherwise. Looks like no one else on the support list is max grailed. So my guess is the support list is messed up because something else is probably normally in the all slot. I bet you Pinth is normally in berserker slot. And whatever the other thing is that is 2k fo'd, it was probably in the all slot. So it's just not slotted right now. So I'm guessing no one else is 2k fo'd. If something is, I would say Hans, I guess. But I think it's no one. Alright, let's see if I'm right here. Pinth is normally in the all slot? Okay, I guess you just... Well, she's not 2k foe yet, so I'm guessing you just don't have enough 2k foes yet. So you're not at max power yet. CE's not maxed yet either, tisk. But what level is your account here? 137, yeah, it's not, you're not like super fucking active over here, because, you know, look at 145 and 149, and there's a huge difference between like the 130-ish, and when you start getting the 140s and stuff, like the XP per level is so extreme. Okay, so we're NP3, 10, halfway to 2k foe, so not maximum Pinth here, but still above average by quite a bit. We'll do that. There's no way she's living a super long time here. I'm pretty sure on my ult account I got Gwaine to NP5 on this banner as well. And my ult account also got King Potato Chips because of that, but I've never leveled her. well. Do we use her second skill? I'm gonna use it right away and hope maybe somehow we can use it again later, but that's probably not gonna happen. But it'll mean we get our NP right away. It is possible for Pimp to double NP in a solo though. If she can NP with her second skill already active, so she gets the 20% right back. Especially if the enemy has a like somewhat okay hit count. Damn, I was really hoping to get lucky there. That could have been good. They'd gotten her art card there. By the way, Pent has really awesome animations and sound effects. Just saying. Good that we cast it because we did not get much NP gain on the following turns. Now I haven't nuked everyone off the friends list, but I wasn't really planning on doing the dragon today. I'm just doing it once real quick. But I'm gonna be doing like a lot of the I gotta catch up on NA, right? I gotta do my strengthening quests and everything. I've missed a million buffs for a million characters, so I'm gonna do some of that. But we'll see real quick how Pimp does. Yep, this sucks. I bet you if I could cast my second skill right now, we would get our NP again. Because she's going to live a few turns because we have double guts. So you would want to either be able to live longer to get it back, or you know, get your NP without having to use it. Do I make stars on this one? I don't think so. But is there gonna be a second NP? Let me think. Is there gonna be probably not. I guess we have to, that was really unlucky though, because it made like no stars on the previous turn. Ugh, don't like this at all. Not gonna get too good a value here. Unless we get lucky. Hey, it's technically Orion, I'm just saying. Is this Dragon Achilles? Yep. Okay, well, there goes our value. Right down the drain. Clearly it's not Achilles, because if it was no, wait, actually, I was gonna say if it was Achilles, she wouldn't drop the ball like that, but that's actually not right, because she got her ass killed when she tried to fight Achilles, so I guess she did drop the ball. So I guess this is accurate. This is just Troy right now. It all makes sense. Boy, am I pissing off Pimp fans right now. Hey man. You know, if she, you know, maybe swung left instead of right, it might have worked out better. That's all I'm saying. You know, she still did a lot of fucking damage for not getting the crit on the big turn and everything else. She still did a lot of damage. Could definitely do better than this, though. We should try this again when this Pimp is stronger. When we get, you know, 2k foe and all that stuff. And then we try to actually crit, for God's sakes. I don't know, if she's truly maxed out, I actually think she can probably win this. It'll be hard and you have to get lucky with the crits, but you basically, what you would need is, you need to have slightly higher stats, maybe NP5, crap like that, but you get the double NP. You're able to NP without using your second skill, you use second skill, and then you NP again while you still have your buffs. If all of those things happened and she got a lucky crit here and there, has the right command codes and all that, I think she actually might be able to win. I don't think we're winning right now by any means, but I could see it being possible if someone really upgraded their Pimp. I think it is possible that she could win. I think a lot of Berserkers can win, though. I do think a lot of single-target Berserkers, if they're truly upgraded properly. Because I've soloed this with Beowulf before. We just got so lucky. He he didn't attack, I don't think there. Or no, I think he attacked once, it just wasn't quite enough to kill us, so then he double buffed. Super lucky. Shame we didn't do more damage earlier. But yeah, it's certainly possible for her to win. It's pretty easy for Beowulf to win now though, because he's got his new third skill buff on JP. Well, we haven't tried an Achilles that's even remotely on par with this pen, because we think he won and all that, but we'll use the proper Achilles at some point. So he's massively disadvantaged because he's AoE and neutral, but we'll see. I think Achilles could do pretty well. Like, I don't know if Achilles would win just because he is neutral in AoE, but for neutral in AoE, I think he's gonna be one of the better ones, I would think. But yeah, that wasn't half bad. The super luck at the end kind of made up for the bad luck earlier, so that was overall fairly legit, I would say. Maybe not quite, but probably favored us actually a little bit. Alright, let's get Hans's. I guess we'll just show off a lot of random crap here from... Okay, you know what? We'll do the purge. Just so, you know, everyone, hopefully most of the people we're seeing are actually in chat right now. So I'm gonna try to purge as many people as possible. And then, by the way, someone purged me, I see. Which, I mean... Well, good job, well done. I can't complain about these things. You know, if I purge people, I gotta be, okay with getting purged myself, you see. Anyway, just try to keep it, you know, I'm gonna use random people from chat. Hopefully they're actually here. Oh god, I'm sure I'm gonna remove somebody I shouldn't, but it's hard when there's this many. Also, you got fuckers with their names not matching and all this other nonsense. Actually, I think I know some of the people I'm removing right now, but, you know, I'll just deal with it and get mad later. Okay, Icy gets to stay because that's a really nice Leonidas right there. Well, that is spared the axe. That's a nice Jolter too, though. Needs command codes, but and remember, if I remove you, you can just add me again. It's fine, right? Wait, what did I just click? Believe me, I don't know why it went back to the menu, but I really wish I could just keep all my regulars from chat on my friends list. I think that'd be awesome, and then I could kind of just, you know, watch people as the, you know, advance their accounts. I think that'd be super awesome. And if they ever add, you know, improvements to the support system, I will be happy to add you guys. It's just, unfortunately, the game doesn't work that way because DW's out of their goddamn minds, and, you know, they make life absolutely miserable if you've got too many people on your friends list. Never gonna use Benny, by the way. Well, I mean, I will for the dragon if it pops up. It's just not exactly high on my priority list there. Now see, this is lurker privilege right here. Looking Glass has just been like a lurker for so long, and I think said maybe 2 or 3 words to me ever. And as such, they get I don't know why, but they get spared. I don't even know why, but they get spared. It would feel wrong purging Looking Glass, even though they don't ever say anything. I think he has spoken like once. I think like on his birthday or something. He said a few things, but very little, and I mean so little. A very mysterious figure, that Looking Glass. But that's how you get him, right? It's like the Boba Fett effect from back in the day, where he just had a cool helmet and a few lines. No one knew anything, and like there's the whole mystery of it, right? And you got like what man with no name, you know, that kind of thing. You know, that's what gets him. I don't know if that's actually Ace from chat or not right there. The bastard, what a name. I love that Angra doesn't get a gold border. I think that would be so lame if he did. He's the only character in the entire game that has a black border, and if he lost that, and then he's like everyone else, like that'd be so lame. Because, you know, that's what makes him stand out. That's his shtick. No one else gets to have a black border. Anyone can have a gold border. Anyone. Fucking Jekyll and Hyde can get a gold border. I don't mean shit. That's a nice Hans. I'm removing all kinds of awesome shit. It's just, you know, gotta make room, man. Feels bad. Shiro Blue wanted me to use their we'll use them. I'm telling you. We'll get that Jekyll and Hyde in here at some point. And I'm actually curious how he does against the dragon. It's actually if every once in a while I do like the bias picks where I pick someone out of order, that one might happen just because I really do want to, for my own personal curiosity, I want to see how Jekyll and Hyde does. The answer is probably not very good, by the way. I will say this, the one thing in Jekyll and Hyde's favor in that fight is the fact that the dragon doesn't do that much damage. So all that bonus health he gets might actually result in some extra turns. Where when you fight a really nasty boss, a lot of times it does not result in you getting an extra turn. So it's like, what was the point of any of that? That is a really nice Karna, by the way. There's still so many people on my friends list right now. Zerp with the non-capital Z, man. God, see, Zaw gets away with it because I actually don't know why Zaw... Jesus Christ, Looking Glass, you don't need to do that. Now I just feel guilty as fuck. But Jesus, thank you for the 1,500 bits. God damn, now I feel like the worst fucking person ever right now, by the way. I do appreciate the support, though. Oh yeah, another reason Looking Glass gets to survive is because Looking Glass has Enkidu, and Enkidu is kind of the best, but... yeah, Zaw gets away with it because, this is not even a good reason, but it's because Zaw said the 8 is important, so it's like a thing. I don't even know why, but for some reason I'm more okay with Zaw's X not being capital because I know it's like completely intentional. I don't know why it's intentional, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, intentionally doing something stupid is still stupid, but for some reason, I don't give Zaw shit for it, but I give Zerp shit for it, so... Wait, did Looking Glass say something? Did I miss it? I don't think so. I think I got it. But yeah, Zaw's never changing it. I know it's on purpose from Zaw because I've seen Zaw's name on like Overwatch and stuff. We played Overwatch together, which we actually need to do that again later. It's been a while, but I know it's intentional, right? So it's not like I just forgot to hit the capital button. I know everywhere his name is, he always does it that way. Alright, well we got our friends list kind of down. Okay, Rip Tam. Sorry, King. I'm never gonna use Tam. Oh my god, I wish I did not have... I don't want to remove white flags because Medea is such a rare thing to see on a support list, but god, our... 47! We're still at 47! This is what I'm talking about! Like, it's fucked! Well, it's better. It's still too big, but okay, we'll stick with this for now. All right. We'll do a little bit of dragon in a minute. People seem to enjoy that, but I really do wish we had Lobo available. Okay, I'm finally gonna do Hans's frickin' strengthening quest here. We'll show off what that Aussie is sad though. 810 NP1, no command codes. It's rough, man. I'm telling you, I really do hope that at some point they... Man, why? So all these writers suck, by the way, except for the level 1 George. That's good. Like, they're either a unit I don't like or they're scuffed, right? There's plenty of units on here that I like, but they're scuffed. Or they have a terrible CE, right? Like fucking Achilles here is got, you know, garbage CE for farming. You know, that Ivan is just like fucked up, and but then there's some. Then look at this fucking Ishtar, fucking 221, and I don't like Ishtar, and that CE sucks, right? And then we got Ivan here. Ivan's awesome, but then he's 484, right? Like, he's garbage. He's fucking absolute writer slot fail here. You know what? George gets to get summoned. George gets the Say gets the FP again. How about that? These fucking garbage tier writers, man. Alright, let's, I guess we'll solo. What's something random to solo? Let's go Lancelot. Fucking trash tier solo unit right here. Staying on theme, I think, with the garbage. I was complimenting my, my viewers the other day for, like, having good CEs and shit, but then they're like, let me slap a writer slot on here. Cairo has talked about this, and I agree with him. The writer slot is always the most scuffed, always, because it is full of just like farming bullshit, because everybody puts their stupid QP thing on their writer, which is dumb, because almost no one needs to summon a writer for a QP daily. You know, if you need to summon anything, you need to summon like Waver or Tam or Caster or Toria or something, right? But everyone puts it on the writer slot, but no one needs it there. But they summon it anyway because when they fight doors, they just want the bonus stuff. And then you got level 1 Georges and all. It's like the writer slot is just so likely to be crap, right? So if you're fighting some nasty, if you're fighting Demeter, this is gonna happen. But this is gonna happen on NA. Some poor bastard is gonna go to Lost Belt 5-2, you know, all googly-eyed and ready to go save Greece, right? And then he's gonna run into Demeter and he's gonna get annihilated. And he's gonna, well, actually, it won't matter. You don't have access to your support list. But if he did have access to his support list, he wouldn't be able to summon anything worth a fuck because they're all gonna have QP boosting CEs. Yeah, I'll help with Demeter for that like 3,000 QP that she drops. But yeah, not gonna help, by the way. That guy's shit out of luck no matter what, because no support list for you. I guess there's, yeah, Anastasia, and there's just challenge quests. You know, there's been plenty of challenge quests where you need a writer, and you never can find one. If you're like a new account or a weaker account or whatever, or you just don't have any good writers on your own, and you're looking to get carried by someone else's writer, doesn't normally end very well. Hey, Zerf. Oh yeah, I say it all the time, Icy. I say it all the time. You'll see somebody with like some MP5, 10, 10, 10, 2K Fode, and then like Mona Lisa. And then you're sitting here on like 500 million QP and you're like, okay, yeah, that's great. If you're gonna put a farming CE on somebody, put it on the goddamn caster slot if you have to. That's why I normally try to make my support list more, you know, challenge quest, main story oriented. So at least somebody's, you know, doing it. Although I do level 1 George because a lot of people, my friends, just like to solo as well, and that's the only way to do it. So I guess the real sacrifice would be you put level 1 George in the all slot for your friends because they'll know to look there, and then no one else really looks at the all slot. You know, people normally like, oh yeah, I need an archer, so they click the archer tab. They don't go, oh, that guy's got an archer in his all slot. No one does that. That's why my coup is like useless, right? You know, if anyone needs a lancer, they're going to look at my lancer slot, and so my super OP coup though is in the all slot, so he doesn't ever get summoned for anything. I don't think, even if people are doing the story. So yeah, there you go. Get the Castoria Black Grail. That's the play. So I think these guys only get 1 action per turn, and I need Leonidas to die. So I think I actually don't kill them, which means I'm going to take damage, which is lame because I could obviously kill one of these, and then I wouldn't take any damage for the one turn I don't have a taunt. I would just attack and oh fuck. Well, time to use a command spell. I don't even, fucking idiot trash mobs can't even kill a level 1 dude. Proper use of CS indeed. This is why double George is nice, although in this case he'd be taking half damage, so. Oh my god! Okay, I swear if they had double buff there. I like how this is stupid, by the way. We're on turn 6 and we're just now at this point, and because of that they have their fucking NPs. So the one, I'm NPing. I don't even care. I'm fucking this stupid game, dude. Got a fucking phase tank a hit and it's an NP. Like, I don't think so. Well, we got back to 64%. Yeah, K-scope chins are nice, man. Let's see if I can kill one of these and then NP next turn. That's actually, I am not kidding. My favorite use of K-scope is Chin Gong, or Super Scope, excuse me. There's a huge difference between K-scope and Super Scope. Did I just get triple crit? God, fucking. Anyway, so I don't normally use Super Scopes in my videos because a single K-scope is not hard to get, but an MLB K-scope is very hard to get. And here's the thing, if somebody uses K-scope in a video or something and you're struggling with a boss and you're trying to mimic that style of team, maybe not the exact team, but the same style of team, it's pretty easy to mimic K-scope. Even if you don't have K-scope, you can do the MLB soccer one, and maybe you have a stronger, maybe you have waiver, right? Maybe you have a support waiver or your own waiver, but they didn't use waiver in the video because of keeping it more budget, and then so you can make up for that lack of starting NP with waiver or someone else, right? There's a lot of ways to make up for K-scope, right? There's really no way to make up for not having Super Scope because there's such a difference. So if you have K-scope, right, you either have to have a battery skill to NP right away, or you have to wait at least a turn. And if you get bad luck, like where the cards go, you might have to wait 2 turns or 3 turns, even though you have that much starting NP. Sometimes you're gonna have to wait a few turns, right? So the setup has to be able to accommodate for those few turns, or you have to have some kind of battery, right? Where if you have Super Scope, a unit can show up from the back row, be it because someone died, or you use the Switch Mysticode, or whatever, and just boom, no health NP. There's no replacing that, right? There's nothing in the game that, there's nothing that can mimic that. There's no stand-in, there's no pseudo that. The only stand-in is a fucking command spell, right? That's the only thing. Where, yeah, if it's regular K-scope, there's a lot of ways to kind of like mimic that kind of value or that kind of setup. So that's a big part of why I avoid using Super Scope in my videos. And as such, having Super Scope isn't actually that useful to me because I try not to use it for like, and what I enjoy the most is when I make videos. That's my favorite time in FGO is when because if I'm making a video, it's probably more interesting content, right? Like a boss fight where I gotta think, you know, I'm probably handicapping myself some, so it just makes it more interesting. So that's when I'm enjoying the game the most. So when I enjoy the game the most, I don't use Super Scope. So Super Scope's not that, I don't care that much, right? It's not that good. But the one thing that it does that I fucking love, and it's easily my favorite thing about it, is level 1 Chin Gong with the Super Scope murdering story supports. That is the best thing ever, and ever since I've obtained that, you know, you can't go back, man. It's so good. It's like you want to solo, and the game's like, nah, man, you got to bring the story support. And like, oh yeah, well I got the No You card, you know, Chin Gong with the Super Scope, and you just yeet the Musashi or whatever. It's the best, man. Best feeling in the game. Fucking story supports. I'm all for not having access to your support list for a hard boss fight, so you gotta figure it out yourself. You gotta level up your own stuff. You gotta, you know, get the job done. That's fine, but I don't like having to bring some, you know, garbage ass, dumb support with no foe items, doesn't know what a proper CE is, you know, wrong class for the fight, you know, they're just sitting there, gotta be in the front row or some garbage, right? Don't care so much about that. In terms of usefulness, easily Chin Gong is the best 4-star that they added for that anniversary thing. How are you not gonna kill that thing? I was fuck it, we'll use this turn to make a bunch of stars then. Like how the book didn't even attack, so calculated. But yeah, Chin Gong is just so useful. He's useful for whales, doing loopy things and buff stacking nonsense and cycling. He's useful for low, like newer accounts and free-to-play stuff just because he's just a good buster support. He gives you damage cut, defense up, MP charge, huge bust drop, you know, targeted taunt. A lot of budget teams don't use his sacrifice stuff much. They might use it a little bit, but they don't actually use it that much. Where like on the high end, you know, super whale stuff, they use him almost exclusively for that. But then he's also a decent DPS caster on his own, and then he also enables you to get rid of, you know, story supports and things like that. He is so versatile. He does so many things for players at all ranges. You know, he's good Grailed, he's good non-Grailed, he's good at level 65, he's good at level 1. He's just, like, fucking awesome. Also, it's kind of annoying that the final wave is this easy. I was just wanting it to be a bit harder than this so I could show off some value more, but whatever. I mean, that's how it was on JP, though. On JP, Qingong was in Lost Belt 3 and he wasn't in the game. He wasn't added until the anniversary event. And they're not going to give you a unit early because that would mess up balance, right? That would mean you'd have access to Qingong for like challenge quests and main story fights that you weren't supposed to have access to him for. So they don't generally do that kind of stuff. Funnily enough, though, they've done the opposite. So they don't give NA. They give NA animation updates early because that's surface level, right? It's skin deep. It doesn't just style, right? Doesn't mean anything. But they don't give NA strengthening quests early. But they'll give them to you late, right? They've done that a few times where, like, so for JP, when Camelot came out, way back in the day, right? When Camelot was released, like a few days after it was released, they gave Mozart his third skill and they gave Robin his third skill, and that was very useful for like Gwaine and then the other fight with Gwaine and stuff like that, right? Because Robin killed Saber real good, right? And then Mozart's one of his best budget companions, and so him having his buff is also super good. So very impactful thing having those there. On NA, you didn't get Robin's buff and Mozart's buff until like I don't know, a month or 2 months, and after Camelot was released, so it was super fucking late. And they've done stuff like that several times where they're really late on a buff or something, and it's really annoying. And then there was another one too. They added this one sucked for me because it was just annoying. I wanted to do something that I couldn't do on JP at the time, and I wanted to do it on NA, but then I couldn't do it on NA because of this. So when they added Anniversary Gwaine, right? Billy is supposed to have his buff. He's supposed to have his NP buff. And that's obviously very applicable again because, you know, Saber boss and Billy's a good cleanup unit there and everything. But NA got Anniversary Gwaine really early, and I think they got Billy's buff late. So those two things combined resulted in Billy not having his upgraded NP for the small window of time that you were able to fight Anniversary Gwaine, which is an awesome boss fight, by the way. It's like Camelot Gwaine but harder. And not having Billy at his best for that really pissed me off because I really like Billy and I wanted him at his best, and I should have been able to have it, but I couldn't, so that was unfortunate. So yeah, NA has gotten scuffed in a few things like that, but yeah, you can't really expect them to add units early and buffs early, and I don't think they should, because that really would break the game, right? Like when Guadia was, I may be wrong, this is just off the top of my head, but I want to say the principle of what I'm about to explain is true, even if I'm remembering this wrong, but the principle is true. Off memory, Joan of Arc is not supposed to have her NP buff when Guadia came out, for example, right? And even if that's the wrong timing, you know, plenty of other bosses that are AoE, that was the case where she was supposed to stun herself, and that adds to the difficulty, right? That's part of, like, you know, how they balance the enemy bosses is kind of what units are available to the players, right? And so if you gave Joan of Arc her buff early, that's going to make a lot of, you know, random challenge quests and stuff in between when she was supposed to get it and when they gave it to her, you know, easier than they should have been, right? So I don't think it's not really a good idea to buff things out of schedule. And seriously, adding Qingong ahead of schedule would make all kinds of fucking problems for the game. Besides, it also make it less hype when they add all the bronzes at once, because a big part of why it's awesome is because they add so many at the same time. See if these stages are any harder now. Am I 10-10-10 with him over here? I am. Alright, we're totally... This is so pointless because this is an easy stage and we're counterclassing for some reason. But I kind of wanted to see Kentoki murder things. But yeah, thankfully NA does get animation updates early, and that's fine. I think that's good. No reason not to do that, in my opinion. What's weird, though, is how they're so inconsistent with it. You all got Steno and Uriel's animation update like a month after it came out in JP, right? Crazy fast. And then freaking you don't have Hans's animation update yet. It's kind of dumb. Yeah, we haven't had a good anniversary in a little while, but I hope the next one will be good. I may be wrong, right? There's easily could I be wrong. I have nothing that really suggests this. I don't have like inside sources or anything. But I suspect the next anniversary will be good because the 5th one got so much, like, bleh, it was so underwhelming, I think they're gonna go out of their way to make it good. Now, the only thing that might be a real hamper to that would be the fact that they made so much less money last year. You know, that means they might have less resources from Aniplex and stuff. You know, they may be lower on the totem pole now, so maybe they don't have the resources to do as much as they want. But we'll see. We'll just have to see. Also, DW just might not give a fuck anymore for all kinds of different reasons. Because it's not like, you know, DW is just hired by Aniplex to do the job, right? They don't, you know, they're not really in the same position as Type Moon and Aniplex is, so, you know, their heart might not even be in it. It may never have been in it, who knows? But with the 5th year anniversary being so lackluster, I will say I did, the music was cool. Like, my favorite was how they had, like, the instrumental, like, takes on the battle music and stuff. That was awesome. That was super unique and awesome. But that has nothing to do with making the game better and that kind of thing, obviously. So, yeah, on a gameplay side, it was very disappointing, and I hope this next one is better. I think it will be, though. I really do. Like, there's no way they don't want things to be disappointing like that. You're gonna double buff right now? Why are they like this? I'm all like, hey, books attack more than once, so I can just do the taunt. But he's like, no, I'm just gonna double debuff. Gotta get that, like, buff, debuff chance down or some crap. What annoys me about the anniversaries is the fact that there's a lot of expectations put on them where there shouldn't be, right? The reason, but it's their fault. It really is. The reason the expectations are so high for the anniversary is because the anniversary is one of the only damn times that FGO actually implements, like, anything, right? It's the only time they implement, you know, a lot of quality of. It's the only chance you have a good quality of life updates, right? If they're going to add a new game mode or, like, really fix up some of the under the hood stuff, or add new gameplay systems, generally that's when they do it. Can you all please stop? I really got to find how to turn off boosting. I'm so fucking tired of people boosting. It is the most pointless system ever, and it just clutters up chat. Like, it does nothing. The only thing boosting does is if you're like in a really competitive game where lots of people are streaming it. But like, literally no one needs to, like, search through, okay, Lost, can we start timing out? I'm serious, can we start timing out people that are boosting? If streamer says don't boost and you boost, just time them out, and if they keep doing it, ban them. I'm serious. It's stupid having people behave that way. I'm not interested in people trying to be cheeky, right? It's annoying. It prevents people from being able to communicate in chat and have, like, a conversation. It does literally nothing. And if people are literally saying don't do it and you do it, I just time them out. Like, you had more than enough warning. I have no sympathy for somebody getting timed out or banned over trying to be cheeky here. I like how, I love that Leonidas lived, which was already really annoying, and then he gets all of the fucking cards. It's about right. It does show, though, that there's always, you know, that guy in chat. There's always that guy in chat. You know, most of chat is normally pretty reasonable, but there's always somebody lurking that thinks they're being so edgy or clever. No, just time out that last one. Those last, I mean, that one was so after the fact. There's no pulling punches here. I want to slap Twitch, though, for even adding that system, because it's really annoying how you have to opt out of it, and it's, like, buried under menus, and no one would even realize that you need to do that. And it's such a pointless system. It does nothing. Anyway, so anniversaries are the only time that FGO is, like, likely to do something really major, like... This is so dumb, by the way. This is, like, the epitome of bullshit luck. So everything that can go wrong with having a taunt live is happening right now. Ever since the taunt wore off, Leonidas has never been attacked, ever. But they haven't debuffed. They've just attacked Kentucky over and over again. And then we don't have access to our deck, right? Like, it's just terrible fucking RNG here. I guess we'll try to keep Leonidas alive at this point. We've gone this far, you might as well. But yeah, like when they added command codes, you know, that was the anniversary. I think when they added the back button, that was the anniversary. You know, all the new bronzes, that was the anniversary. Like when they do really stuff that really makes the game better on a baseline level, it's not like a temporary event or a temporary thing like that, but like a permanent thing that makes the game better. It's generally on the anniversaries. So that's why the the bar is always set so high for it, because it's like there's all these things people want, like story replay or animation updates or new game mode or whatever, new systems. You know, the most likely time to see that is on the anniversary. When the anniversary does almost nothing, then it's extra disappointing because you know those things probably aren't going to happen for the rest of the goddamn year. Well, I guess it was a duo all along because Leonidas gets to live. You know what? Let's do our battery skill just so we get the bigger overcharge. Man, I wanted to show off, like, you know, NPing on a trash mob that you don't need to NP, but you do it anyway, then you loop and make a bunch of stars. You kind of want to show off that whole disgusting gameplay loop that he can do, but, man, talking about, it's really funny to me, though, how there's always that many people in chat that are, like, they think they're being edgy, they think they're, like, you know, fighting the system or something, and they're just being dumb, and, like, it doesn't affect anything, and, like, no one cares that you got timed out, or you get banned, right? Like, so I don't know why. It's any streamer. Watch any streamer. There's always those guys in chat, right? Like, I don't. It's so silly. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, I'll show them. All right, last one, and then we get our goddamn Hans buff. I wish these were harder because I can't even kill my taunt walls. You can't show off like a nice gameplay loop. I couldn't show off really, you know, Lancelot's gameplay loop, although his gameplay loop in his solo doesn't work so good. Star Absorb, not so good when you got 5 cards. But yeah, it's hard to show off when the stages are so easy. You can't the unit can't shine, right? They can't show what they're made of when it's that easy. That's why I normally do it at neutral, but when it's so easy, the fucking taunt walls can't die. It's like, well... Wow, I really should work on my Medusa skill ranks over here. I must use it just for farming or something. It's not... I mean, I see why, like, if I'm using it for farming or whatever, or using it for Guadia, or you know, whatever, I guess it's fine, but... Normally, I try on most of my accounts where if I bother to level Medusa, I try to get her skill ranks up. Although on most of my accounts, I don't level Medusa. I don't mind Medusa. She's cool and everything. It's just she's not super high priority. Although she is a good farming unit, I'll say that. If you need an AoE rider to help you farm for something, then she's totally fine at that. She has a battery. She has an upgraded NP. She has a damage up skill. Right, a lot of good check marks there. Honestly, in terms of character though, like just characterization, Medusa is fairly high in my list of like best female characters and stuff. She's a pretty interesting character and whatnot, so that's why I've never minded having a one level 80. I mean, I don't think Medusa needs a buff that much. She's a pretty damn good 3-star, like, for her role, right? Now, her role is not the strongest role that ever rolled, but it's good, right? She's a very good budget AoE unit, right? With a bit of utility with the stun, right? So she's very good. You don't need what she offers that all the time, but, you know, she's fine. She's definitely a very good 3-star. So she's, now, that being said, I think it's fine to buff her, by all means. It wouldn't break the game if she got buffed. But the Face Day Night characters that I'm like, yeah, these really need buffs is like, you know, Curse Arm, Medea, really big stress on Medea there. Medea has got to be in the weirdest spot ever because she's almost invaluable to budget people, although less so now because they've added a lot more buff removal for budget units. But, you know, her utility is extremely useful as a free-to-play unit that anyone can get at any time. You don't have to play during a limited time event or whatever. So that's great. You know, having buff removal and debuff clear, that's super good. Like, super, super, super good. But she only gets used because you need that utility, right? No one uses her because she's a caster or because she's single target or because none of that stuff. She's so bad at what those things are applicable to that it's annoying, right? So even though in some ways she's actually better than Medusa, I think she needs a buff more than Medusa because Medusa does her job very well where Medea does not. It's just that job is important. I understand what you're saying. It's time to buff Ku again. Yeah, that's dude. It was so dumb of them to buff him the set. Okay, the first time they buffed Ku, I was a little surprised, but I'm like, you know, they do stuff like this, and Ku's really popular, so, you know, I kind of get it, although it is kind of frustrating that they buffed Ku before they buffed all these other Lancers that need it more. But my whole thing was, yeah, they were probably gonna buff Ku eventually, so fair enough. And I do like Ku myself and everything, so it's fine. I just, you know, just get to the other ones already, right? But then they still didn't get to the other ones, and they buffed Ku again. It just, the first buff, it's like fair enough. The second buff, that was dumb. Like that really was dumb. Like, how are you not gonna buff all these other 1 to 3 star Lancers that are so blah? And then Ku's already the best of them anyway, and you already buffed them, and then you buff them again. And it's like, well, shit. That one truly surprised me, though. I truly did not think they were going to buff Ku again. Because after they buffed him the first time, it's like, okay, you know, he really needs for nothing, so for a budget unit, he's about as good as it's going to get for, you know, what his role is. But then they buffed him again, and I'm like, oh, just... So now I'm like, as absurd as it is, what if they do buff him again? Like, really, what if, like, look at Emiya. Emiya's like, I can't carry all these buffs, right? So they might seriously buff Ku again. They could buff his third skill. Because people complain about his third skill. Like, it just removes debuffs, and you only care about that in some challenge quest, so who cares, right? So they might actually buff Ku again, which I think is absolutely outrageous if they don't, you know, like, okay, if you buff Proto Ku, and you buff Romulus again, right? You buff Taiga, for God's sakes. Like, for God's sakes, buff Taiga, right? So if you do all those things, you get all the other, you know, Lancers sorted for the, and Deer Mid, buff Deer Mid. Once that's done, if they want to buff Ku again, fine, right? And it doesn't matter so much. As long as the other Lancers are, like, good enough. Maybe they're not as good as Ku, but they're good enough. If you like them, you can really make them work and not have it feel like shit. Then that's fine, right? But the fact that they keep buffing Ku and they keep ignoring Proto Ku and all the other Lancers that need it, it's just kind of frustrating. And it's not like they have a limited supply of buffs, right? It's not like, oh, we're only allowed, you know, 10 buffs a year. It's like, that's not a thing. You know, they can do whatever they want, and they just don't. So I don't really get it. Ku's new buff removal resistance. That wouldn't be so bad because that's such a utility buff. It's not like, oh man, Ku has buff removal resistance. He's so much better than Deer Mid now, right? That is so niche that you know, it's nice in that niche, of course, but and that is a damn, you know, useful niche. But that wouldn't be that bad. I mean, that, you know, imagine if they, like, you know, added quick up to his third skill, like a 3-turn quick up to his third skill. Like, that would be such a fucking slap in the face for so many people. But I've seen plenty of people that want Ku's third skill to get buffed, and you know, they buffed everything on Emiya, so. They buffed his NP, they buffed all 3 of his skills, and they buffed one of his skills again. So they might do it, because Ku's popular as hell, and you know, Ku's my favorite character, but I'm like, can we be reasonable about this, please? I always like when they do interludes. They do like 4 interludes at a time, or 5 interludes or whatever, and they put out like a interlude thing. And then one of the units in the interlude thing desperately needs a buff. And they just get an SQ interlude. And then someone else in it does not need a buff, and they get one. And that's when you just have to ask, are they trolling? Do they not care? Do they not know? Like, what's the, you know, what's the deal here? Man, remember when they used to do, they used to do buffs, like a round of buffs, not like interludes and stuff, but like just straight buffs. They used to do those twice a year instead of just on the anniversary, but here lately they've only been doing it on the anniversary. It's actually been so long since they used to do it. They had a pattern. They used to do it on the anniversary, and then in a certain month they would always do it. Like, you could see it for like 5 years straight. They did it that way. I forgot what month it was. I want to say it was February or something, but I kind of forgot when it was. But it's been so long, I don't really keep track anymore because they just don't do it anymore. And I wouldn't mind it as much as if on the anniversary then they buffed way more people, but they don't. So kind of just sucks. Well, yeah, NA hasn't gotten to the point yet, although I think you might be at the point now where you don't get one again. The one NA just got, is probably the last one that they do, because I know the year of the 5th year anniversary they did not do any like round of buffs like that outside of the anniversary, and they certainly haven't done one so far this year. So yeah, you probably don't get one again on NA. That was probably the last time. Man, Martha not having a good time with the deck shuffling right now. Do you mean Black Bart? And yeah, he could definitely use a buff. He's almost good too, which is annoying. He's kind of like... His skills are fine. Like, on paper, he's totally fine, except for the fact that he's a 1-star. Then what he is does not synergize with what 1-stars, like, have. The 1-stars that are really good are normally the ones that have toolkits that don't care so much about what their stats are. Where 1-stars like Kojiro, that are very linked to what their stats are, you know, have a much harder time, so... Kojiro is the best of that. He does the best because his kit is just so good, and his cooldowns are so good, and his NP is so good. I will give this to Black Bart, though. Black Bart does have a degree of team support that can be good, because he is a low-star unit that can Star Bomb, and his Star Bomb can get more boom for its buck because of his negative Star Absorb thing that he can do if he wants to. And while he's doing that, he does buff the team a little bit. So as like a low-star support, he has uses. He really does. It's just that those uses are still pretty limited in the grand scheme of things. And it's really only good if you're doing 1 to 2-star stuff. It's not really that good if you do 1 to 3-star stuff, and it certainly is not good if you just do 1 to 5-star stuff, even if you are budget. So yeah, it'd be nice if they could give him a little bit extra oomph. It's tough as a DPS unit though, as a 1-star. Like that's just tough. That stat line doesn't sync up so good. Cause you got what's her name? Charlotte. That's the one. I think Gareth is in pretty good shape. I wouldn't complain though if she got an MP buff. That's not going to break the game. She's lucky though, because she's not in competition with anyone. Like literally, there are no bronze lancers that are in her area, right? Because she does have damage and stuff. She's the most similar to Leonidas because they both have taunt. But Leonidas is almost all about the taunt and the utility, and he has a lot more uptime on taunt and that kind of thing. Where she's a little bit of taunt, so a little bit of protecting the team, and a little bit of like control over death manipulation and stuff. But then is more about the also, you know, packs a little bit of punch and is good for overcharging other units because of her defense down and all that stuff. So she kind of has her own niche going on. So like buffing her is never going to shit on anyone else because there's just no one else in her area. So they can basically they could literally like triple her effectiveness and it wouldn't matter, right? That's not shitting on anybody. So yeah, her getting buffed would be totally fine. But she's fine. She's a good low star. She gets used. It's fine. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her get buffed just to be you know, really, I'm always happy when the low star options get stronger, just because it keeps them up with, you know, the current content and everything. And they've had a little bit of trouble with that lately, but I think it's pretty good now again. But yeah, the one thing they really need to do, well, actually, there's a few things they need to do. There's still so many weird niches that just don't have covered by 1 to 3 stars, and it's kind of frustrating. Like single target caster, but also just like buff removal resistance and all that kind of stuff, and certain damage types, and there's still plenty of room for low stars to be added. But the one I want the most actually is buff removal resistance. They need some kind of support that has buff removal resistance. That's the other one. I'm kind of just used to it by now, where low stars just do not have good options for battery. They just don't. It doesn't exist. You know, they do not have a support that can give you like a real shot in the arm. They just don't have that. And in some ways that makes the game a lot more interesting, because it makes the game a lot harder, because it means it's a lot harder to guarantee having, you know, enough NPs to do this one thing and this one thing before this break bar or after this break bar. So it makes things like significantly harder, but it can be really frustrating because sometimes they make stupidly hard challenge quests or main story fights or whatever that are almost balanced with like battery in mind, and you know most players are gonna, because here's the thing, you don't have to be a low star person or a whale, you know, like most players are gonna have access to a degree of NP spam if they care to, because it's just not hard to get, you know, NP spam from someone in Waiver or something like Astoria or Scatty and stuff like that. So, you know, outside of a few fights like Zeus, most players are able to get a lot of NPs off pretty rapidly, you know, even if they're not being super meta or super whale, right? So it is just so much of the player base, like a good 80% of the player base has access to some degree of NP spam. Not necessarily like what you see whales doing, but they still can get a pretty good amount of NPs off pretty rapidly. That they kind of design a lot of boss fights with that in mind now. So if you're that other 20% of the player base that either just doesn't have those units, or is newer to the game, or you don't want to use those units because you're doing 1 to 3 star stuff or whatever, if you're that other 20%, it kind of sucks when they make these bosses that have those things so in mind. It can be kind of annoying. It can be fun sometimes because it can be fun to get creative and find work around some of the gimmicks. But sometimes the gimmicks are so like set in stone that there's not much you can do, and that can be annoying. Like, I really, like, Achilles was a good example of that. I didn't get to do the Achilles fight too much, but I've seen enough, and I've talked to enough other people that know the game very well, and they do budget stuff and everything. The Achilles fight just was not tuned right. It just wasn't, and like, as for like 1 to 3 stars, you just didn't have the options available to you that would make it work in a reasonable way. You just didn't. Like, the gimmicks and the stat line just was so off that it wasn't really happening for a more budgety setup. Now you could do it with a budget setup and use command spells, I suppose. That's pretty much always the case, but you had to be pretty smart with command codes in Guildfest because you could use them, but you couldn't use them to revive, so you kind of had to already know what you were doing. But that's fine. It's probably better that way. Oh no, I don't have Ku second buff. Whatever will I do? I have gotten used to it though now, and just like having that option to have more damage, and it's so easy to loop his guts now, where before you had to be pretty good with your timing on when you cast guts, where that extra turn on the cooldown gives you enough wiggle room that you could be a bit cautious with it, right? You can kind of just, make sure you maybe you cast a little early to make sure it's there when you need it, and then it'll probably be back when you need it still, so. People keep telling me that, Icy. My friend Kai even said that. I haven't done that challenge quest in a long time, but I don't remember it being that way, and I'm pretty sure in like my video, I don't two-turner. I made like 2 videos for that, and then in one of the videos I did 2 setups, so I've done 3 setups for that on video. And off memory, I just did like random ass riders basically. I think I killed her in like 7 turns. The main thing is you just need to be able to bust the health bar, and because she can't, the health bars are like checkpoints, right? She can't heal past the checkpoint. So as long as you can 1 or 2 turn the health bar, it's fine. So it doesn't need to be a 2-turn setup or a 1-2. It's fine if you bust the health bar, then wait a bit and set up again, and then do it again. Let me look. I'm pretty sure. Because I know she self-heals, but like I don't think off memory she even self-heals so much that like you had to, like, let's say you failed to break the last health bar, but you got kind of close. You don't lose. It's not like she goes from from like 10% to 100%. Like, you can still run it back if you like NP like, okay, part 1 of my damage and part 2 of my damage, right? Like, that still works. Now, obviously, she was easier to 2-turn, right? The way that fight was designed, it was easier, but yeah, I just did like really generic free-to-play riders. A lot of them are AoE for God's sakes, and I think I went on like turn 7 or some shit. Yeah, and look, I don't even have her at, I don't take her from 100 to 0. I take her from like 80 or something to 0. And yeah, I want to turn 8. You just need to have damage, right? That fight's kind of designed on you need to be able to do a lot of damage. That's pretty common when they do healing gimmicks. I don't mind fights like that though, because you have a lot of ways to build up damage and do a lot at once. I think it's fun when you have some fights that are oriented to be more bursty, and then some that are more sustained. I wouldn't want every fight to be like that, of course not, but I don't mind fights that are like, oh yeah, set up a wombo combo, and that, because you can do that pretty easily on a budget setup. You don't need to scatty it up and go boom. You can kind of just stack a lot of buffs on the more reasonable units, and that can get the job done. So it's not my favorite fight though. It's not. It's because it is kind of easy, and I don't think it's too strict on how you have to beat it, but it's a little strict. That was such an easy challenge quest though. You could easily like show off. You know, I used that for Ku to like get buff stacked because it was just you could make any class work there with just the damage threshold. It wasn't like even remotely necessary to be a rider or a berserker. But that would if I was gonna make a top 10 favorite like best challenge quest ever, you know, tier list or something, that wouldn't that would not make the list. That would not make the list. I can't decide. I feel like because I have my second YouTube channel that I don't really have to maintain quality standards on or anything. I kind of, at some point, I kind of want to do that, right? You do videos like, you know, best challenge quests or, you know, people are always asking me to do the color green tier list, right? But I could actually do that. You kind of play into the joke and you do it completely seriously because y'all, jokes aside, of course I've thought about the best shades of green and where they work and like, you know, which shades of green can work as a primary color and which look better as a secondary color. Of course I've thought of these things. I've thought of these things like big time. So I could totally make a video and do it like, you know, act totally serious throughout it and then just put that on the second channel, right? So you can do, you know, green tier list video, you can do best challenge quest video, whatever. You know, if I want to, I can have more fun on my second channel. The main reason I haven't is just time. If I want to do more videos like that, that means less time making, you know, regular videos, which right now there hasn't. I've had nothing to make regular videos on. There's been so little content on JP. I've been like, well, what am I even supposed to do? But then I normally stream, right? I stream a lot if I don't have a lot of videos to make. So if I do something like that, I will have to stream less, right? I'll still stream, of course, but like I wouldn't stream as often. Rip my ENP, by the way. But I don't know. I might do some stuff like that. It'd be fun to try different things. You know, it gives you different editing style, it gives you different ways to create videos. Because people have asked me many times what are my favorite challenge quests over the years, and I'm not actually sure because I'd really have to sit down and go back and look at them and think about it, and because there's a few that definitely stand out. There's definitely a few that stand out to me that but to really figure it out, I'd have to you know, go back and look at a lot of them and see exactly how they rank. One that always comes to mind though, that I always remember as one that I had so much fun doing, was the K&K rerun, the one where you fight Void Shiki. I really enjoyed that one because it was extremely flexible in the ways you could approach it, but it was still quite hard, so you needed to play well and you needed to get good value out of the units that you brought. But it was quite flexible in the ways you could approach it, and there was decisions to be made where should you let Shiki get battery or should you keep trying to do the buster cards. You could do things like what I did with like I'd hold David's NP. Even though I could have used it and got another NP from him sooner, I would hold it in case I had a turn where I had no buster card and I needed to use an NP drain on her, right? So that it's like an emergency button. Because you might get no buster card, but it's on a turn that it's okay that she gets battery, right? But it might be a time where it's not, right? So I like that. I like the fights that let you do things like that. So I really do. That's always been a challenge quest that that comes to mind when people ask me about my favorites. Yeah, least favorites that's the same thing. I would have to think about that too. Probably the boar one though. That one was just bad. It wasn't like so hard. It was just so badly designed. And it was designed in a way where it was pretty easy to trivialize to the point where you wouldn't even notice that it was a challenge quest worth a fuck. But then it was basically impossible at the time for doing it with like a proper 1 to 3 star setup, right? Because 1 to 3 stars just did not have the kind of units and synergy that did what you needed to do there. But then doing what you needed to do there was just so easy to do if you just summoned a friend's Merlin or whatever, right? So that was just bad. Where like Shadow Knights of the Round Table has kind of got some problems too and all that kind of stuff. But at least those had interesting gimmicks and things like that. The Summer Boars was just bad. Like there's no gimmicks. It's just a bunch of boars that are all AoE, so they'll kill your team very quickly and they all hit very hard and they have an insane amount of health. That's all it is. That's it. And so you need to be able to AoE NP spam or have a degree of survivability, and that's all it calls for to win. It's so easy to beat that challenge quest, but there's no nuance to it. There's no fun way to do it. It's not fair to like, you know, budget setups and stuff. So yeah, I really did not care for that one. That's one of my least favorite ones. You know, the Shadow Knights of the Round Table, there are real problems with it, and I think they kind of missed the mark on like the stat line, and like I think there's some unnecessary. Some of the RNG and it's okay because there's a degree of okay, if you get bad luck, you need extra value on your team to make up for it, and that's okay. But some of the RNG is just really unnecessary, and I think like what can happen to a lot of people is when they have the right turn where the DPS opportunity presents itself, they're not ready to NP. And that kind of ruins everything, and that's not great. But I like the gimmicks. I honestly like the gimmick. When I first did it, I did not have a very strong opinion about it because I only beat it once, and at the time, because I hadn't looked it up, I hadn't seen anyone do it online. I didn't even know that everyone was freaking out about it, and I did not realize you couldn't repeat it. So I didn't really get to play around with it, right? And but I could see there were problems with it, and I saw everyone complaining about it, and I saw like what the other budget people what they had to do to beat it. So I was like, yeah, that's not great. But when I did it on the rerun, obviously the rerun made it a bit easier because you've got some like Darius has been buffed and things like that. But it wasn't that bad. Like I beat it like so quick. Like I didn't have to min-max. That's the thing. I did not like sit down for like hours trying to min-max the best budget team to beat it. I pretty much like, yeah, I bet you Darius could do this. And I just slapped the team together, and in like 2 tries I got it. But that's not really that hard. Like there's a lot of other challenge quests that demanded a lot more from budget teams than that. So I don't really mind that one. I didn't find it super fun, and I do think it was a bit off, but I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. I really don't. I don't think it's amazing either, but it's okay. The ones that come to my mind though are definitely the Summer Boars, Gramps. I think if Gramps came back, he'd probably be fine now, just because the players for budget and non-budget are so much stronger now. I think Gramps would not be a problem anymore. But they clearly missed the stat line, and the instant death is annoying. I don't think anyone enjoys instant death on the enemy. It's one thing if the instant death is guaranteed and you have to play around it. Like, okay, every time he NPs, someone is going to die, and I have to either have guts or debuff or death immunity or whatever, right? If it's truly balanced with that in mind, it's okay. But what they oftentimes do is they try to make it so the insta-death thing is a problem, and if you have a way to mitigate it, that'll be a boon to you, but it's not necessary. That's what they try to do, but a lot of times I think they miss the mark, and I think Gramps was really like that. Because it's not like Gramps would always insta-kill you, he wouldn't. But if he did, the fight would be so much harder, and there was so little anti-insta-death resist back then that it was pretty dumb. It's still a problem though, because there's almost no insta-death resist for low stars. So it's still a huge fucking problem. And then like everyone's like, oh, but Baldy's a horrible DPS for that fight, and that wouldn't save you. If the only way you could make Baldy work against Neurofest Gramps is if the supports were just carrying, and at that point you don't need Baldy. Like if you were like buff stacking and just throwing all the big boy stuff to just supercharge Baldy and make sure he's doing LOL massive damage, and while you're at it, have him be immune to instant death and everything, you could have won with all kinds of units that aren't Baldy. So he's not benefiting you. He's not a gift to the player base, because he's not allowing people to win that couldn't have won otherwise, right? It's like a showboating thing, so it doesn't matter too much. So yeah, I still think Gramps would be a kind of a problem for just the instant death factor, but generally I would say they do a good job of challenge quests. So, with how many they've made, the fact that there's only a few that I'm like, wow, this kind of sucks. That's actually a pretty good track record. I would say they make way more good challenge quests than bad. I would say very much so. Yeah, I do think insta-death is a bad mechanic in FGO. It just doesn't work. Like, it's dumb. Like, on both ends, it doesn't work well. And it's very hard to balance. And I've always said, the way that you could only do this if they balanced it like this from the beginning. Because a lot of units have insta-death now, where if you retroactively made this change, they would become broken and way too powerful. So it's something you'd have to like keep in mind. But if you're gonna get, what I would have done with insta-death is I would have made it where insta-death has a perfectly decent chance of proccing on a boss, and then if your gimmick is being all about insta-death, then you can guarantee that it's gonna proc on a boss. But then it doesn't insta-kill them, it does a set amount of damage. It does flat damage or something, right? And that kind of represents the aspect of insta-death where it gets around defenses and things like that. It doesn't matter how like tanky you are, this damage gets through, right? So making it flat damage would be pretty cool. Then you could break some fights like that, because some fights, have damage resistance gimmicks and things like that, and that's fine. It's fun to break fights sometimes. So I think that would be a good way to do it. They couldn't do it that way now, though. It's too late. It's just not balanced for that at all. So there'd be so many problems. Imagine Ku with like doing like 20 to 40k flat damage, every other NP. Like that. It's not great. And obviously that doesn't represent what Insta-Death does lore-wise very well, but you can't represent what Insta-Death does lore-wise very well. Because it just kills a thing, right? Like, of course that's not going to work well gameplay-wise. And lore-wise, you can't give every major boss that ever exists, oh, they just happen to have no concept of death, right? That's dumb if, like, you have to pull that out of your ass constantly, right? So, gameplay-wise, there's just always going to be a bit of a disparity there. Speaking of insta-death, we can probably insta-death this thing. I wonder if I could kill that, do that 9k with a Buster card. I could do, well, I think we'll just, well, it's awesome if I can kill that one there. Okay, I'm gonna do this because such a short cooldown. 9k at neutral. I don't remember if I 2k'd Scath. I don't think I did. I think she's just level 100. If she had like the flat damage command code, I know she could do it. If she had the like 1000 damage command code, she could do it, I think. She might be able to. It's gonna be super close. I'm pretty sure these count as undead, so I'll just do that number. That's a coward's move, but yeah, I'm pretty sure ghosts are undead, so... I was really curious, though, if she could have done it without... Yeah, I've had Gramps insta-kill bosses on face guards. And it proccing on trash mobs, I've had happen many times, because trash mobs don't have that much resistance, so that's not that rare. It's somewhat rare, but it's not that rare. But I've literally insta-killed major bosses with Gramps' normal cards, because RNG. Very, 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 very rarely, though. And then Ku, who I have fought so many bosses with Ku. The amount of bulgs that have smacked into bosses' faces over the years for me is so high. And I've only insta-killed major bosses with Ku like maybe 4 or 5 times. And you might say, wow, that's a lot. It's not. Because that's 4 or 5 times over like 5 years. So, yeah, it's so fucking rare to insta-kill major bosses. It is hilarious, though, when insta-kill goes off against a major boss. And if they have break bars, what it does is it just breaks the bar. It won't kill them entirely, but... Like, they could have 1,000,000 health, and they'll lose all of it, and it'll break that one bar. Oh, hi, Fujino. That's kind of random. I guess we kill the Chimera first, because it's way more threatening. Let's try to kill it with normal card damage. Yeah, we're doing Shiki's buff. There's a video somewhere of a guy insta-killing a raid with David's craft essence. I cannot even imagine how long that took, and I don't even know why he bothered to do that. Because it's not like he was using David for his farming, and it just happened to insta-kill one time. That's not what happened at all. He literally brought him solo with the CE, and I just... Like, why though? David's Bond CE. It has a chance to insta-kill any normal attacks. The chance is absolutely terrible, though. I don't even know why that Bond CE exists. Massive overkill right here. I mean, I would not actually say most Bond CEs are terrible. They're just not good enough to be used. There are a lot that are terrible, but there's actually a lot that aren't. There really is a lot that aren't. They're just not quite good enough to be used. So I think the one that's probably the most useful that people act like isn't, but it just is. There's a lot of supports that have good Bond CEs. There's a lot of supports that have good Bond CEs, right? Because the whole team-wide, like art up or team-wide quick up and stuff, that can definitely work on a support. and some people might not have like a limit broken 2030 or whatever, so it's actually not that rare for it to get value, right? Yeah, Tam spawn CE, Mozart spawn CE, Scatty spawn CE, Merlin spawn CE, Waver spawn CE. It's not really that hard to get value out of those. It's not at all. We're like, so those are fine. But you have that same style of CE that is randomly on DPS, and then it's fucking terrible, right? Like you take the same CE and you put it in a different context like that, and then it's super bad. And I see so many people that just don't understand that. They don't get what I'm saying. They don't get it. But the reason why you can have like a team-wide bust drop that's good on a support, but it's bad on Arthur, for example, because like Arthur's Bonsi, I think, is attack it for the team. You might think, oh, it affects himself and it helps his team. That's good. No, it's not good. Because what Arthur could have is Arthur could have something like Golden Sumo or Drunken Jolter or Aerial Drive, which is giving himself even more than what his Bond CE gives himself. And then he also gets the team-wide CE from somebody else, from a support. That's good, right? You do not want your DPS sacrificing something, right, for their to give team DPS. That doesn't make any sense, right? If someone's going to sacrifice their own personal damage output, you want it to be the fucking support, right? Because you can have your cake and eat it too. So there's no reason to use Arthur's Bond CE ever. Like there's just no circumstance where that makes sense. Because there's no team comp where you're like trying to get some damage out of Arthur, but then even more damage out of like Mordred or something, where you couldn't have just gotten even more damage out of, you know, Arthur doing, like whatever damage Arthur is giving Mordred or whoever, Arthur himself would have done more by having a proper CE, where if the support had the team-wide CE in it, like it's just always better. It's like those CEs are stupid, and there's a lot of those, unfortunately. And there's also a lot that are like, they're kind of good on a new account, and they're like placeholders. Like, Ku Alter's Bond CE is actually an okay placeholder, right? The Guts effect on it and all that, it's decent. It is not as good as a lot of the other Gut CEs that they've given out, but if you've just started and you don't have any of those, it's okay. It's not amazing, but there are times you might actually want to use it. And there's a few CEs like that, and there's like some Star Bomb ones, like Calamity Jane's. Like, if you don't have 2030, not 2030, what am I saying? If you don't have Golden Carp, you don't have the Calamity Jane CE from the event, ironically, you don't have like one of those, that's a decent stand-in. It really is. That can be handy. Sometimes you do want to use her as like a Star Bomb thing. You probably want that on a support more than Calamity Jane, but there's times that can be good. So there's a few like that where it's like, yeah, these are definitely inferior to proper CEs that are similar to them, but if you don't have those, this is a nice stand-in. So there are more decent CEs for Bond CEs than I think people realize, but yeah, normally they're not optimal. They're just okay, and then there's a few that are optimal, and then there's a lot that are trash. There is a lot that are trash, but it's not. I don't think it's as many as people think, right? There's a lot of supports that have good Bond CEs, and there's definitely a few more than just like Herc and stuff that have good ones. And you got Trap Face and Achilles. You know, those are niche, but they have uses. It is kind of funny, though, that Calamity Jane's CE is better than her Bond CE. I would say almost, I think always, right? Let me look real quick. Because they both make 20 stars, but I don't think the Bond CE does really anything else. And it has no stats, which is very relevant, where the regular CE has stats, and I think it gives you NP gain up and things like that, which is good. Also, shoutouts to Calamity Jane somehow getting a proper CE before Medea. At least Medea got one, but it only took 6 years. Okay, so Calamity Jane's Bond CE is, it makes 20 stars when she hits the field, which is good, and then increases her NP damage by 30%, which is okay, but because it gives her no health and no attack, because LOL Bond CEs, most of that 30% damage is going into making up for, like, it's still pretty bad, because your NP might go a little bit positive there, but every normal attack she ever does is going in negative, right? So the end result is her damage output is suffering quite a bit from the CE, and then you get the 20 stars. So yeah, sure, it's okay for, the big thing is 30% NP damage when you have no starting NP, that's just not so great, right? If this somehow could come with starting NP, then it'd be fucking amazing, but, and then let's see, what does the other one do, the proper CE from the event? I want to say it's 2k attack, and it's like NP gain, and NP gain never hurts. It is so 20 stars exactly. Oh wow, this is way better. It makes 20 stars, which is exactly the same. It increases your critical damage by 20%, which hey, if you use those stars and you crit, you know, hell yeah. So that already is way better, and then it gives you 20% MP generation on top of that, which is, you know, if you crit and have that bonus, your MP gain there is really nice. And it gives you 2,000 attack, and the 2,000 attack is very significant. So yeah, it's not even close. It's so much better than her Bond CE. However, you might start playing the game, you know, God knows when, and well, no, that doesn't work, because if you started, Calamity Jane is limited, right? So you wouldn't have her unless you were in like that window where you could get that CE. And even if you got Calamity Jane on her last rate up, which was after that CE was available, it's going to be rated up again, like in 4 months or something. So yeah, there's really no world for that's specific to Calamity Jane. Like, you know, like Coup Alter and stuff like that, you really could use his Bond CE sometimes. Yep, absolutely lost. If Orion's had stats on it, it wouldn't even have to be like super good stats, but if it had like 1,000 attack or even 500 attack, his CE would be good, because off memory his makes stars per turn, which is super fucking good for him. Let's see, his does gain 8 stars per turn, so that's awesome. And then all party members' critical damage, so including himself, is up by 15%. That is so fucking good. His Bond CE is so good, but then it's completely pointless because it doesn't give stats. Like, you might say, well, that's not that bad. No, it's that bad. That is an awesome CE effect that is so good, and if that existed on a normal CE, it'd be incredible. But because it has no stats, it's trash. Now, it would not be trash if he was a support. If that was like Shakespeare's Bond CE, that would be absolutely phenomenal, right? If that was Hans's Bond CE, that would be absolutely phenomenal, because then Hans is just passively giving the team 15% crit all the time, and the 8 stars, and his own skill stars. Like, if this was Hans's Bond CE, oh my god, it would be I would use this all of the time. I would use this so fucking frequently. Like, just so common. But because it's on a DPS, having no stats is very bad, right? Like, the 15% crit does not make up for the no stats at all, because another CE can have more than that crit and have stats, so it's so close to being good. That is one of the saddest things I've actually seen in this game, because they're like teasing you with this awesome Bond CE, and it's like, no, but it's run, because yeah, your DPS needs stats. So like, stats is very important for, like, I'm telling you, if you ever doubt what I'm talking about with CEs here, test this. Go use like Coup or something. If you've got like your pocket favorite servant, you know, use someone like Coup that's got a bad Bond CE with a bad stat line, you know, and then NP with them, and then do some normal attacks with them, and look at the average damage, right? Like, you know, do 3 or 4 NPs, do a bunch of Brave Chains, look at the average damage, and then fight the same enemies and use like Golden Sumo or something, and it's just sad, right? It's just sad. Like, and in a way you can just see it for NPs, right? Because like, at least some of the Bond CEs give NP damage up at least. But if you wanted to see how much attack stat affects your NP damage, just do an NP with no CE. Do like Cou's NP or David's NP or, you know, Gilgamesh, whatever. Just do an NP with no CE equipped. And then do an NP with one gives you a decent attack stat, and then just look at how much extra damage it is, right? It's quite a fucking bit. So yeah, it's pretty painful with the Bond CEs having 100. That's one of the easiest ways to fix them, and I actually really think they should do this. I know everyone's gonna say LOL Herc, but I think overall this is better for the game. I think they should give all Bond CEs 500 attack and 500 health. That would be fucking awesome. A lot of Bond CEs would still be kind of that's not gonna be a blanket fix for them, but they'd be way more usable at that point, like way more fucking usable. And yes, it would make Herc, you know, even stronger. But Herc, he's gone, chat. You can't. He's too far gone. It doesn't matter, right? It literally doesn't matter if Herc gets stronger, whatever. But having some degree of stats so he doesn't feel like you're going so hard in the negative would make it a lot better. And so some of the Bond CEs out there that are kind of on the edge would actually be usable, right? If you made them 2000, they would be way too strong. Oh my god. So many Bond CEs would just become unbelievably broken if they get. I mean, that is way too many stats, right? It'd be hard to make anything have 2000, let alone Bond CEs. So yeah, they cannot do that at all, unfortunately. 1000, 1000 is maybe doable. That's really pushing it though. I definitely prefer 500, 500. I think that's the better way to go. I should grail him on an A. It's 10, 10, 10. Good NP rank. Siegfried's awesome. Look at... Wow, look at my Irisville on an A being 10, 10, 10. How about that? Yeah, they did make Kirk stronger a little while ago. There are a few Bond CEs that if you slap 50% battery on them, they'd be fine. But there's so many that would be broken. Now, I don't know. Some people, and I see people in my chat like with some of these ideas, that I think what they want, and this isn't necessarily crazy, I think some people want Bond CEs to just be really fucking good. Because even, I've been playing this game for a long time, right? I only have, I got a decent amount of Bond 10 CEs, but it's not like I got them for every fucking unit. Not at all. Not even close. I got them for like my favorites, and then like a few random ones that I farm with a lot, right? People don't just let's say you're trying to do a budget setup. People are not going to just casually have Ku's Bond CE and Ushi's Bond CE and George's Bond CE, and like that's not a thing, man, right? Like people only have, everyone has some Bond CEs, but most people don't have that many. And so I think some people, because it takes so much time, and it's like a sign of dedication, they want it to be like, yeah, this is always good on this unit, right? I think that's what people want. And I'm not against that. The problem is, it's very difficult to make a CE like that is always good for the unit, but then it's not busted, right? And it's not gonna make like all kinds of, like, oh god, now this unit is just ludicrously better than its competition, right? Like, it's very difficult to find a balance there. But I've always felt this way, that I do think getting Bond 10 with a unit needs to be more impactful. It needs to really be like, oh man, now I can, And Angra is one of the few units it feels that way for. Angra gets, like, if you have Bond 10 Angra, you're better than all the other Angras, right? Bond 10 Ku is not any fucking different than every other Ku. It don't mean shit, right? If you want your Ku to be stronger, you Grail, you 2K Foe, you Faux Pas, you Command Code. Those are the things you do. You don't give a flying fuck if Ku is Bond 10 or not, right? And Angra is one of the few that's like, yeah, this is good. It's Angra and Herc, right? And in Angra, it's not because of his CE, it's because when he gets Bond 10, he gets to do a strengthening quest. And I think that's a really good way of doing it. I wish they would throw those out like candy. I wish they would just throw out so many strengthening quests that are tied to being Bond 10, because I think it feels great to unlock that. It makes your unit feel special and better than... Like, there's a difference between someone that's like, yeah, I really like Ku, versus somebody that just leveled Ku because he's a really good budget unit and they use him to, like, band-aid fix, oh shit, Archer situations, right? There should be a difference between that, and that's fine. And I think it's a really elegant way to fix units that are in that really awkward scenario where it's like, well... They're kind of the best in class for their rarity, but they're not really so strong that they're too strong. So it's like a really good way to fix that is like the buff they just gave Ushi. If that was for Bond 10, I think that would have worked a lot better, right? Because Ushi, before her third buff that they just gave her for Little Big Tengu, before that she was already amazing. She was already fucking phenomenal, right? But if you want Ushi to be even better, and you want, people that really like Ushi to have something special and stuff, that's fine, but then making it a Bond 10 thing, I think, is really good. Like me, for most of my accounts, I use Ushi as how I described Ku a second ago. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm such an Ushi fan. I'm like, oh, Ushi's a great band-aid fix for murdering casters and berserkers and stuff. So I use her like that way. I'm not like the Ushi guy. I'm not like, oh my god, I got a 10-10-10 Grail, Bond 10. I don't do that. Although I actually do have Ushi on Bond 10 on NA because she's so good for Guadia. I was like, hey, I'll just slap her in the back row, so when Guadia comes out on NA, she'll just butcher him, right? And it'll be funny. But other than that, I don't really get Bond on Ushi. So if that, it's like that last buff they gave Ushi. If I don't have it, that's fine. Ushi without it is amazing. Like Ushi is still so good without that last buff they just gave her. I would never feel like, oh my god, I just have to get Ushi to Bond 10, right? It's like, no, she's still more than serviceable what she's needed for. And then the people are like, oh man, I really, really like Ushi, they get something extra, right? That's fine. I think that's a really good way of doing it. And yeah, I kind of wish they would do that more often. But they've only done it, for Angra specifically, and then kind of for Herc, but that was an accident with his Bond CE. It's not a strengthening quest, but it might as well be. It's really common that people have their budget units at like skill rank 6 to 7 or whatever. I think that's pretty normal. But yeah, I think they need to make Bond 10 better. It is pretty... Because it's not even good. Most units getting Bond 10, it's less special than Bond 9. Because Bond 9 gives you SQ or whatever, or a lot of units, when you get Bond 10, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Like, Ku getting Bond 10, nothing. Like, the one thing that happened is, yeah, if you do Guadia after you got Bond 10, he gets bonus damage. But if you get Bond 10 on Ku after you did the Solomon story, it doesn't do anything. Nothing. His Bond C is worthless. You will never use it outside of, like, showboating. It has no... It just shit. It's total shit. And a lot of Bond Cs are like that. So when you get them Bond 10, you don't get the SQ anymore. You don't get an apple. You don't get anything. So for loads of units, there's no reason to go past Bond 9 in terms of practicality. Now, maybe for pride or fun or whatever, sure. But I think people want Bond 10 to be more than just, you know, for show. I think people would like some kind of universal practical thing that happens at Bond 10 for every unit. But unfortunately, that's not a thing. Do you all think they thought Bond CEs were all going to be good? Like, because when they first started making, because they weren't actually in the game day one. They weren't for NA, but they weren't for JP. Bond 10 didn't even exist for day one, FGO. I'm serious, it did not exist. There was only Bond 5. And then what happened, they didn't even universally add Bond 10. God, this is some old shit, by the way. Does anyone else remember this? My JP players, where they would do, like, they made an event out of it. They would add, like how they add interludes. They would add Bond 10 to a unit. It was like a thing. It's like, hey guys, we just added Bond 10 to these 5 or 6 units. It was like a whole shtick. Dumbest shit ever, by the way. And then when they finally did that, they would give them their Bond CE and that kind of thing. By the way, most of the Bond CEs they added when doing that were completely pointless. And then it was really lame too, because let's say Kurutsugu, because Kurutsugu is one of those units, when it was released, only had Bond 5. You could use him like crazy, but you could not be working towards Bond 10. Even if he didn't have his Bond CE, you couldn't like work towards his Bond 10 in advance. He was just stuck at Bond 5. And then when they finally added it, even if you've already used Kurutsugu a bajillion times, he'd still just be Bond 5, and you'd have to work all the way to Bond 10 again. Very dumb, and you think it took them a long time to actually, I don't think they ever even changed it. What they started, oh my god, I just realized how lazy DW is. Because I just realized what they did. So, and I may be wrong about this, Lost can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. What they did was, once they started doing Bond 10, any new unit that was created, they just came out with Bond 10. Kind of like how when they would make a, and it was at a certain point, obviously not like when they first did Bond 10, but there was a point where they started, anytime a new unit was added, they would come out with Bond 10. Like how new units that are added have the widescreen support. And then they would just slowly, retroactively add Bond 10 to the old units. And they did, there was never a patch with like, oh guys, we're removing this like Bond 5 thing. We're just gonna make everyone Bond 10 now. I don't think that was ever a patch. I think they just ran out of units to unlock Bond 10 on. It's just like there's no universal everyone has a third skill. That's not a thing, right? They never did that. They just slowly buffed everyone until they had a third skill. And while doing that, anytime they added a new unit, they came with a third skill, and they don't have to unlock it, right? That is so dumb, and I've said this so many times about DW. I have so little respect for that philosophy. That is pathetic, and that shows that you don't even care about your own game. I think that is just so fucking pathetic, and they do this so much in FGO, where they will have a philosophy change and they will not apply it retroactively. That is so stupid, right? Because it means you don't care, right? It's like Sanson is an example of this. They do not make skills like Sanson's third skill anymore, for a really good reason, right? They're trash. They don't do that. So when they make anything even similar to it, they make it better, like with Nightingale. But then they, further beyond that, they now always, when they have a niche skill, it always comes with another effect that is always useful. Like Arthur's anti-giant also comes with a battery skill. So if they're not a giant, at least you get a battery skill, right? They always do that now. but they don't they don't just go, oh, okay, well, we should give Sanson something. They're like, oh yeah, in 9 years we'll buff Sanson's third skill and we'll add a new effect to it when you spend 100 AP to unlock it. Like, fuck you, that's stupid. Day one, when you make that design change, you don't need to do a strengthening quest. You should just change Sanson's third skill to one, say humanoid and not human, to be fair, but then just type in your fucking computer, right? Gets a battery skill, gets a buster up, gets a sergeant up, gets an attack, whatever. Just give them something for God's sakes, right? You shouldn't have to wait till, oh guys, but guys, what if in 20 years we want to put Sanson as a joke servant in summer 7 or 17, and then we'll give them a strengthening quest, and you can spend 200 AP to get a proper third skill, right? That's what they do, right? That is dumb. I'm so tired of that kind of stuff, right? Imagine if like more games did that, where they had like imagine if League of Legends or something, you had an unbalanced character, and instead of them being like, oh yeah, this is unbalanced, we'll patch it next patch. They're like, oh yeah, this is unbalanced, and we'll patch it in maybe a year to 2 years, maybe 3 years from now, when we want to, like, when they're in the focus of an event again, then we'll do it, guys. We know they need it, but we're not going to do it right now. Like, that's fucking stupid. You might say, well, maybe they don't think he needs it. No, they obviously think he needs it, because they never make skills like that anymore. They never make skills like that anymore, because they know it's bad. Like, they know it's bad, and so that's why they literally never do it anymore. But, they're like, nope, gotta wait until Sanson's relevant again. Or he gets lucky on an anniversary. Gotta just Russian roulette your who gets buffed on the anniversary. Ain't that fun, guys? Like, it's just so obnoxious. It's one thing, when you have units that don't need buffs that bad, but when you have units that are just so fundamentally flawed, and then you have so many units that don't have third skills, and you have to spend hundreds and hundreds of AP to unlock their third skills and stuff, instead of just getting it like everyone else, it's just fucking stupid, dude. Like, it's so dumb. And it's not even hard to fix. And if and they're like, oh, but what if someone wants to do the strengthening quest? You can let them do it if they want to get the SQ out of it anyway. If they want to spend the hundreds of AP to get that one SQ or whatever, that's fine. Any strengthening quest that existed should still be doable later, but you shouldn't have to do it to unlock your goddamn third skill. That's just crazy. Like, I'm casting invincibility because I'm not 100% sure she's going to do the damage here. Yeah, I don't think anyone at DW actually likes Sanson. I know some of the fans do. Sanson is actually a somewhat popular bronze. He's not as popular as like Madohari or Kojiro or something like that, of course not, but he's got a decent following. I mean, people like Sanson. He's got a good voice actor. He's got a unique design. All that kind of stuff. So people, he's got the whole conflicted thing going on. So people like Sanson. But yeah, I don't think anyone at DW gives a fuck. Because it's not just him not getting animation update, and it's not just him dying all the time in the story. There's just so many aspects of Sanson that they shit on him so much. They don't update his toolkit. They don't buff him. He doesn't get an animation update. But like his anniversary thing, a lot, not all, but a lot of the anniversary CEs, they like represent their own culture, right, or their own history or their own legend. Sanson doesn't. He represents Chinese culture for some fucking reason when he's French, right? And like, there's just so many things where they just don't care, right? They literally just don't care about Sanson. It pisses me off because I don't like when anyone gets scuffed like that. But then when I also happen to really like the unit, then it's just even worse, right? I don't like any of the anniversary CEs that they do that with, where instead of representing their own culture, they're just randomly pandering to like another culture where like because it's not random. It's not like they're doing Russian roulette here. It's not like Kurutsugu is randomly representing Hungary. They don't do that. What they do is they always represent a culture that's really popular, right? It's pretty much always Japan or China, right? And then it's normally not Chinese or Japanese servants. It's just other popular servants. Right? They do that a lot. Not really a fan of that. There's nothing. I have nothing wrong with China. Having Chinese attire and stuff. That's fine. But it should obviously be on Chinese servants or on characters that it makes sense for them to like. Chinese culture and stuff, and same for Japanese ones. You have a million Japanese characters. You should have no shortage of being able to make anniversary CEs that are Japanese themed. That should not be a problem, right? We don't need to make a bunch of servants that aren't Japanese just randomly. It's just annoying, right? Because there's so little representation for the other cultures, and then when you have like their one servant, and then that one servant doesn't even represent the one thing that they are there for, it's like, really? And you know, I always say I get it. I don't care if a Japanese developer wants to make all Japanese stuff in their games. That's fine. I don't care if an American developer wants to like have every main character in their story be American. But then you don't, say it with me now, you don't pick a subject matter that's about global fucking history, right? Like if you're like, yeah, I want to make a story that's set in Tokyo and all the main characters are going to be Japanese and that's fine. That's cool, right? You know, that's what you're interested in. Go nuts. That doesn't bother me, right? That's fine. No big deal, right? If you're Hungarian, right, and you want to make a story set in Hungarian and all the Hungary and all the characters are going to be that's fine. No, great. More power to you. Go nuts, right? That's all fine. But you don't pick a goddamn subject that's going to be like is about history all over the world, right? You don't do that. That doesn't make any goddamn sense, right? If you're gonna bother to do that, actually do a good job with it, for God's sakes. And if you're gonna add a European servant, then have them be European, for God's sakes. Yeah, honestly, the books do way better, generally speaking. There's obviously, hit and miss stuff everywhere. The books normally, though, do a decent job. And I don't think, it's not like Fate needs to be like, oh wow, we set a story in Romania, every single servant needs to be in Romania. You don't need to do that. I think Fate has always been fun to see the clash of different things from different periods and different regions. Because, for example, you could have two people clash that are from the same region, but they're from different periods and stuff, so they have like a real, different mindset. That can be entertaining. And then you can do like have a famous French king fight a famous English king, but they're from different periods, but like that bad blood still exists, right? That can be fun, right? That's fun. And then you can have shit like, something as famous as King Arthur fighting something as famous as Blackbeard, but that's such a different area of history, right? Like, that's fun. And hey, Zarek, thank you for the massive 21 sub, 21 month resub. I can't talk. But that's like a really fun thing about Fate. So it's not like they need the whole cast to be all Romanian if it's set in Romania, right? But if you're going to have set a story in Romania, you should have at least one character from there, and then you should have it actually represent that thing pretty well. And I think they actually did do a pretty good job with Vlad. I like how they did Vlad and the conflict between like how the people in Romania see him versus the rest of the world and stuff. I thought they did pretty well with that, and that's why I really like Lancer Vlad, and that's why I don't like how FGO was like, let's make an excuse not to put Lancer Vlad in the game, but let's, use his design so we never do Lancer Vlad, and let's, completely change his abilities and his personality just so we don't accidentally mess it up, and so, it doesn't clash with the book, because we can't be bothered to read the book, of course not. Like that, I fucking hate that. Like, APOC did it fine. FGO did the opposite of that. They did it really wrong. Thankfully, though, I feel like if we ever get another FGO game, FGO 2, some other mobile game, if some big MMO blows up, or, Genshin Impact, but Fate, or a fighting game or whatever, if Vlad gets used again, which I mean, he may not, unfortunately, but imagine a Fate fighting game and they decide to put Vlad in. Yeah, right. But, who knows, maybe he gets lucky, like Darius got lucky in Extella, right? So let's say Vlad gets used again in some major, Fate IP that blows up again. They probably would use Lancer Vlad, right? The only reason they used Berserker Vlad is because they couldn't be bothered to read the book. And literally, FGO back then was shovelware, and, the anime didn't exist, so they had no reference for, like, his NP and stuff, so they just made up, they fan-fictioned it. But if now that Fate is so much bigger and everything, and now APOC does have an anime, if Vlad was ever used again, they would surely use his regular Lancer Vlad, and we would get all that stuff again. But, yeah, unfortunately, he may never get used again, because he's not that popular, so kind of an oof there. Random Cleopatra time. Oh boy, those skill ranks, though. It's because I like Cleopatra, but I don't like Super Hyper, and I got her in an accident, which is weird because she's in P2, but I used like 15 summon tickets trying to get extra Vlad, and I got in P2 Cleopatra somehow. Like, what do you want from me here? But I really should get her to 10-10-10 because I don't have her on any other account, and I probably will never have her on any other account because she's limited and she's not something I would normally roll on. But she's fun. She's a unique character, and her buff was awesome. I love the buff block stuff and all that. So I should get her to 10-10-10 just because it's something that I do like that I normally would never have access to. So kind of like, why not? That's kind of why I'm wanting to get Lantoria on my newbie account. You know, I want to get her rolling because it's the same deal. She is cool, but I probably wouldn't like dedicate my main account to rolling for her or anything like that. So there's never going to be an FGO 2, by the way. I can almost guarantee you that's never going to happen, but there will be other Fate mobile games and, you know, a big, like, long-running IPs, be it on computer or mobile or whatever, an MMO or a gacha game, whatever. That's going to exist at some point, but it's not going to be named Fate Grand Order 2. It's going to be something completely different, and the combat system's going to be something completely different. And there's a lot of reasons for this. One, it's probably going to be a different developer. I can almost guarantee you it's going to be a different developer, but even if it's not, they are so incentivized not to do the same combat system. And it's not because this combat system is bad or anything, it's not that at all. They want a very distinct disconnect between FGO and whatever the other thing is, because that will get people to not bitch about having to unlock the same servants again. Right? If the next Fate game, it's in 5 years, it's, you know, if the game plays like Genshin Impact or something, right? It's such a different game. You know, the roster is going to be very different, especially day one. No one's going to feel, how do I put this? They're not going to feel entitled to already having all of the things that they had in FGO, right? Where if they literally make Fate Grand Order 2, and it's a very similar combat system and all these things, rightly or wrongly, a huge percentage of the player base is going to feel entitled to already having all of these servants. And there are two reasons they don't want to do that. Obviously the money. They want you to have to roll again, and they want to make money again. But that's not the only reason. That's a huge reason, but that's not the only reason. And I actually say that's not the main reason. I would say the main reason is because they ain't gonna put all the fucking servants in the game day one because that's too much fucking work, right? Like, if you have to redo the animations for everybody, you're only gonna have like 40 starting servants or whatever, right? And of course you're gonna put in, you know, some fan favorites and some repeat ones, but you're going to want new ones too, right? So let's say you have the time and the budget. I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but it's going to be a number, right? So let's say you have the time and the budget for 40 servants for day one of this game. Some of those 40 servants, you're absolutely going to want to be old servants that people already know, like Musashi or Jolter or Toria or whatever, right? But you're going to want a chunk of them to be brand new servants that no one's ever seen before, because that gets people excited. So loads of servants are not going to be in the game day one. They'll be added eventually. You're going to have really big popular servants that are not in this, you know, theoretical sequel. They're not going to be in day one. You know, but they'll be a big thing when they finally get around to, hey guys, we're finally adding, I don't know, Ku or something. They're like, oh yeah, and we can make a real big deal out of this. And, you know, yeah, he was already in FGO, but y'all haven't had Ku in this game this whole time. And so he can be like the whole focus, like it's a whole thing, you know, it's like the main raid up and everything, right? So they want to be able to do that, and the best way for them to do this is have such a disconnect between FGO 1 and whatever the next game is. So they're going to name it something completely different. It's going to be Fate, you know, toilet paper. It's going to be a different genre of game to some degree. You know, maybe it's still turn-based, but the combat system will be completely different. And maybe it's not turn-based, right? It's going to be a totally different game. And that way they can be completely justified and, you know, not get all this like backlash to making people unlock all the servants again and for all the servants not being available day one again. Because in Arcade, nobody expected to get all the servants right away, and they you know, like already being in the game and stuff, and they didn't expect to have the characters unlocked, and that's, you know, it's a really different game. So yeah, you're never getting FGO 2. Never gonna happen. You might have an update to FGO that they kind of market as FGO 2. That might happen, right? And they kind of already did that with 2.0 to a degree. I don't think they really failed with it, because day one of 2.0 did not come with new, like, a bunch of new bronzes. It didn't come with the new gameplay systems. It didn't do any of that. But like how Overwatch is kind of, you know, the Overwatch 2 is kind of an expansion pack, really. You know, FGO might do something like that, where maybe they do another engine overhaul. Maybe they do some universal, like, you know, graphic updates. Maybe, you know, maybe they do some touch-ups. Maybe they do add some silvers and bronzes all at once. You know, something like that could happen. But that's more of an update to FGO and not really FGO 2, right? Even if they do market it that way. But yeah, FGO 2 never going to happen, which actually I think sucks, because I think there's... the combat system of FGO, by pure accident, has a lot of depth to it, and awesome challenge quests have been made in it. And when I compare it to something like to Blaze Blue's Gacha game, and Blaze Blue's Gacha game has some potential for a better combat system, but really, a lot of the turn-to-turn decision-making you make in FGO, especially when you're doing a challenge quest, where you're thinking about, like, you know, how to maximize your MP gain versus your damage, who do I need to get MP gain on, who's going to die, should I try to get MP gain, or is this unit going to die before they get their MP again, right? There's all these decisions to be made with the first card bonus, you know, who's, you know, if it's not a solo, like you have your teammates' cards, you know, who goes where. There's quite a bit of decision making to be made, right? And some of it, especially on, you know, the challenge quest, really matters, and it's pretty enjoyable, right? And then you also just have a lot of, like, you know, synergy with the different skills and so on and so forth. So FGO is lucky in that its combat system actually has a lot more nuance to it than you might expect, right? Quite a bit more. Where most mobile games, turn-based or no, don't have any of that. Like, not at all. They're so straightforward. It's so easy to make the optimal play. It's so dry, right? It's dull as fuck, right? So FGO is really lucky that it happens to have a combat system that has a lot of reasons to have a lot of different decisions. You know, decisions are fun, right? Or like Blaze Blue has very few decisions. The optimal turn is so obvious in that Blaze Blue game, and the optimal turn in like Epic 7, same deal. And most of its competition that are turn-based, it's very simple, right? The other games I can think of that have very much better combat systems and stuff are different genres. You know, like Arknights. Arknights has a fuckload of depth to it, but you know, it's such a different game. Yeah, just fix this game. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Literally, just fix this game. I love this combat system. I'm not bored of this combat system at all. Now, I'm bored of what they give us to do with it sometimes, like very much so. But I like dude. I am when they put out a good boss fight, when they're like, wow, you could tell they put some thought into this, and this is a good fucking boss fight. You know, like Zeus and some of the random challenge quests that they do. I have a good time, dude. I sit down, I got my tea, you know, I'm recording it or whatever, you know, and I have such a good time every time they do that kind of stuff. Absolute blast, right? I've never felt even remotely burned out on that stuff. I have felt burnt out of like the just crappy ass like event format that they copy paste over and over again. That stuff I get bored of. You know, I'm not hyped to go farm doors, right? Shit like that. But when FGO actually makes you think, I always have a good time. It's just they don't make you think enough. That's the and I'm all for having a lot of I'm really an advocate for, like, and I think Epic 7 actually does a good job of this, and several other games do this, and Genshin Impact does this to a degree, not the best, but to a degree, where you have more than one way to farm a certain thing, right? So let's say you want to go farm QP, you don't have to take doors out of the game, that's fine. And if anything, you can make door farming better. You can make their AP cost 20, right? That's fine. But I also really advocate for, like, oh yeah, and we're going to add this new game mode on the side, where you go through like a labyrinth, or you boss rush or whatever. There's all kinds of things you could do in FGO. You could do, you know, you could use the Grailfront mode. You could do a you know, weekly challenge quest. You could whatever you want. You can fight the dragon. Whatever the hell. You could have it where it's a rotating challenge quest from the past, whatever. But whatever it is, that also gives you QP, right? It's another way to get QP. So if you're like, oh yeah, I need QP, I'll go fight the, you know, Dragon 11, and I'll bring my team that's good for fighting Dragon 11 that I've optimized over the weeks, and I'll go bitch slap Dragon 11, right? Or you solo it for the fun of it, right? And then you get a bunch of QP out of it. And if you're like, man, I don't got the units for that, or I don't want to think right now, I don't want to deal with this shit. I just want to, you know, I want to play my other game, I want to watch YouTube, I want to read my book, whatever, and I want to farm on the side, you know, total autopilot, you know, then you go do doors. No problem, right? Now it's fine. You don't need to get rid of the boring shit if people want to do it. But there's no reason not to have some side game modes that give you another way to get skill mats, to get ascension materials, to get old command codes, whatever. You know, wouldn't it be nice if you got a new unit? Hey guys, they added new bronzes. My favorite new bronze is Qin Gong. I want to go get the 1k foe items for Qin Gong. I want to go get his ascension mats. So instead of doing dailies or waiting for an event or farming free quests for like 90 hours, you know, you go like, oh hey, okay, because my favorite's a caster, you go do this game mode, you fight these bosses, because these bosses give the caster stuff. You know, maybe you got like a maze style event, you go to this certain part of the maze to get the caster stuff. What? That would be nice, right? Sure, leave the other options in there if you want to. But why not give people other ways to obtain things, and potentially better ways to obtain things that are more interesting, right? Because that's what Epic 7 does, is they have all these like side boss modes and boss rush modes and and challenge modes and stuff that are like enough. Yes, you can farm events and you can pretty much get all that stuff from the events if you want to, but you can also like more laser focus on I want to get this thing right now, so you go do that specific thing, right? That's such an easy way to add game modes, because I think that's a big part of why FGO is afraid to add game modes, is they are afraid of breaking like the golden goose, and they don't know what rewards to attach to it. I think overwhelmingly that's why FGO doesn't add game modes, and they're lazy. But I think they're afraid of like, well, what if we make the rewards for this mode something that means you don't need to ever do this other thing, right? Like that's what they're afraid of. But like there's so many optional style rewards that you can do, like that fix that, right? Unless like for events, for example, if you want to make sure you're always incentivizing people to do events, you know, just don't let people get grails and 2K faux items and that kind of thing from events, and people are going to do the goddamn events, right? Like, that's pretty easy to incentivize, right? But, you know, having other rewards or even old rewards, like, is it really that big of a deal if you make it easier to get void dust? Right? Like, it's, for God's sakes, there are so many servers that need it now. Someone starts playing the game yesterday, they now need like 9,000 void dust. I don't think you really need them to have to farm that America free quest from fucking like 4 years ago, right? Like, I think it's okay if you've got like a side game mode that, you know, kind of gives you a leg up on getting void dust. I think that's all right. Like, if you have a challenge tower and one of the floors on a first time clear of the floor gives you 20 void dust, that's fine. That's not gonna stop people from, you know, doing the old content. It's not gonna stop people from doing events, for God's sakes. But it makes the game, you know, less of a pain in the goddamn ass, and it gives people a reason to go have some fun, right? Because unfortunately, not everyone, a lot of people know how to have their own fun, but this is a very known thing in game development. Most of your player base are fucking morons that will literally over-optimize the fun out of a game, and they won't do things that they actually find fun if there's not good enough rewards for it. You basically have to trick players into having fun. I'm serious. This is not a controversial statement I'm making. This is a very known thing in game development. You have to trick most of your player base into having fun because they're fucking dumbasses. Like that, it's literally what it is. If you add a game mode with absolutely no rewards to it, some people will do it just for the fun of it, sure, but a lot of people won't. And so they'll get, so for example, you might have a video game, be it FGO or some other thing, that has a nice variety of content that could have a really satisfying gameplay loop of like finding the right balance of challenging content versus more repetitive, easy content, and then, you know, putting you out of your comfort zone just enough, but you don't force them to do it, but there's some incentives to do it, you know. But if the rewards aren't there, people won't do it, even if they could have an amazingly good time with your game. They'll do the boring shit over and over until they get burned out and they stop playing the game. Like, literally, you can have a video game with all these great game modes and a nice variety of content, but if the only optimal thing to do is like to farm the boring shit over and 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 never do anything else, that's what a lot of people will do. That's what the majority of your player base will do, and then they'll get bored and they'll stop playing your game. That's dumb, but that's the human condition. That's what it is. You have to find the right balance of like sprinkling on other rewards. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to have the bulk of your player base doing side game modes all the time. Let's say you add a challenge tower. It's okay if 80% of your player base only does each floor once, and maybe they only do the easy floors, right? When it gets really hard, they don't do it anymore, right? That's fine. That's totally fine. Right, so let's say 80% of your player base does 50 out of 100 of the floors. And most of the good rewards are on the first 50 floors. That's what a lot of devs will do, is the best rewards are on the more reasonable to do floors. On the ones that get stupid fucking hard, they still have rewards, but they're not rewards that you feel like you have to get. So that way, if a player does want to, like, well, you know, I would like to get that reward, and I don't normally like, you know, stressing out and doing really hard content, but I'll go out of my comfort zone and try to get it. And then maybe it's like they beat like a hard boss in Dark Souls, right? And they're like, oh wow, that was actually really fun and rewarding. Maybe I'll do more of that, right? But then if someone else like, yeah, no, I absolutely do not like doing that stressful content. I'm just not, fuck that reward. I don't need it. It's not that important. I'm just not gonna do it. Fine. And then you have people like me, they're like, I don't even need a reward. Just throw the hard shit at me, right? I'll do the floor anyway, right? That's a way to make everyone happy, right? Your casuals kind of, they get something to do on the side that kind of freshens things up a bit. It's kind of cuts out the monotony of doing the repetitive stuff, and then they get some extra rewards out of it, but they don't feel like they have to do it when they don't want to, and it's all good, right? And then the people that want to min-max get the extra rewards, that's fine, and then your crazy bastards like me get to just do it just for literally the fun of it.
and everybody's happy, right? And that's what a lot of devs aim for. This is actually very common. What I just described is not some big brain, wow, idea. It's actually quite simplistic. And it's what a lot of games do. But FGO hasn't figured this shit out yet for some reason. And I think it's a big part of why we don't ever get any, godforsaken game modes. In P1 EMEA, wait, is it? I just can't bring myself to use stage 4 EMEA, man. Or stage 3, it just looks so bad. I fucking hate it. Feels bad for Red, but my god, it's such a, I really dislike Ku stage 3 and EMEA stage 3 because they are not like unique. It's not a unique aesthetic for the characters. It's not. It is like a really lazy way of like being fancy for the sake of being fancy. It's not like a alternative take on the character. It's not like Ku without a shirt or anything like that. It's like, hey, it's Ku but a different color and like different material, and it's trying to be fancy. It's not like even a recolor. It's just trying to be fancy. And Amy is the same way. They're like trying to be fancy. Why is his sprite in stage 2? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway, I don't like those ascensions because they're really lazy and they feel like fan fiction, right? It's just being different for being different. It's not like something that it's not like, oh hey, this stage for Lancelot has a helmet and this one doesn't, so you get variety. It's not that. It's so try hard, right? Let's see. That's a Shiki though. Alright, sure, we'll go Omega Shiki here. But yeah, I really wish FGO would get its shit together when it comes to like, more things to do for fun and more content, right? Like they're really bad at that. They're actually one of the worst games out of any game on the market right now in that department. When they have one of the better base combat systems, right? So it's very obnoxious to me. I mean, Summer Musashi is quite good. She's not like, it's not like, oh my god, if you don't have Summer Musashi, you're just so fucked. Not at all. But she's extremely useful. Berserker, there's so many fights where Berserkers are awesome because you're fighting a million different classes or a weird extra class. And there's plenty of fights that definitely promote AoE instead of single target. And, art is so strong right now that you're having an AoE 5-star art Berserker, it's very easy to find times that's applicable. I'll just put it that way. It is easy to find times where Summer Musashi is going to be a good unit. Maybe not the best unit on the planet. Sometimes she is actually, but sometimes she's just decent. But yeah, it's very easy to get use out of her. And Berserker, her class and role are unique and useful, so she's a very practical unit. So if you like her character, I don't think you're going to regret it at all. I think she's very good. The people that act like she's bad because she drains her health are morons, and they don't understand how Berserkers work in the slightest. Her deterrent is not even really a deterrent. She's extremely good. She has more survivability than most Berserkers, and then she loops very easily with a lot of stuff. She's very good. She's very good. So yeah, if you like her, go nuts. I don't think you'd regret it at all. Now, on the flip side, if you only kind of like her, it's not like, oh my god, you have to roll for her. If you don't roll for her, you're going to be screwed. Right? It's not like that at all. It's like, yeah, she's very good. She can be way more useful than I think some people realize, but it's not like you're screwed if you don't have her. But I will say this, if you have no AoE Berserkers that you like you have none, right, then it's a pretty damn good idea to roll for her. I would say that. Like for me, I at least have Darius, right? Yeah, Darius isn't like some broken unit. Darius is very balanced, right? And that, he's not pushing the envelope in any way, right? But at least I like Darius. Although I actually would like to get a really strong AoE Berserker at some point when I want to do disgusting things. Because Darius is pretty much all I've got. So yeah, at some point I need to get another one. Anyway, so yeah, if you're lacking AoE Berserkers, then I would go out of your way to get her at that point. If you really need it. She's very... Summer Musashi for me is like exactly what I was talking about with like Lantoria and Cleopatra, where I think she's pretty cool and it's got fun gameplay, very unique, and all that. So and like it'd be fun to have her, but I don't. But she's a 5-star, and so she's rare enough that I'm not gonna save up a bunch of SQ on one of my accounts to try to get her. There's just no way I'm gonna do that, right? I'd rather save it for other things. So I'm like never gonna have her. But her gameplay is cool, and if I did have her, I'd be like, oh cool, that's fun, right? So she's kind of in that weird area. And also, thank God. So this is like how you do it right. So Musashi's obviously like the whole obsessed with America type thing going on there, right? She's got the guns and the American flag aesthetic and all that. But they already made regular Masashi, right? So if you like Masashi and you want nice classical Japanese weeb, you got it. It's all good, right? And so then if you want to make the joke character a bit more off the rails, it's okay, right? Summer Mordred is fine because we have regular Mordred, right? It's okay. What I don't like is when they do the joke variant basically before they ever added a normal one, for God's sakes, right? When like that's just silly, you know. If you're gonna add Masashi to the game, now I would actually like them to add male Masashi, but that's a different topic. But yeah, add the normal thing first, then add the crazy variant, right? And thankfully they did that with Masashi, but they don't always do it that way. Why do I have Anniversary Blonde on Shiki? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Boy, we're gonna be pushing our luck now. I guess the one good thing is I can have extra stars for the turn that it really matters on, but I should have done art. We have quick down. Oh god, Shiki please. Woo boy! Thankfully we got our NP and we killed it. But yeah, I didn't make as many stars. I was pushing it on NP gain and we're pushing it on killing him. I honestly, out of all the joke, like I never like joke characters as much as serious characters. It's just never gonna happen. I would never put Summer Masashi up there with like, you know, Kojiro or something, right? It's not gonna happen. I never like the joke characters as much as the serious stuff. But for the joke characters, I think Masashi is one of the better ones because it is kind of funny. And I think it fits the character decently well, you know, and she has the more serious version. So, and she's got stage 3, which if you want Summer Masashi specifically, you still have like an option that her stage 3 is total weeb again and is more serious, right? So they did that on purpose, right? It's kind of like how Super Romulus has good variety in his stages, so you can go, you know, really hard on the over the top stuff, or you don't have to go, you know, that's good. A lot of joke servants don't have those kind of options though. Like they just don't, right? Whereas she does. So she's actually an example of a joke servant done pretty well, in my opinion. Yeah, her stage 3 is really weird though. That's a different topic though. But yeah, I think that's as a joke servant done well. I think Tomoe was done well because you have more serious ascensions and less serious ascensions and stuff. So sometimes they do a good job with joke servants, and they know some people are going to want the thing to be more serious and some not. But yeah, there's other examples. There's a lot of joke servants where they just don't do a good job. What I don't like about Masashi Stage 3, Summer Masashi Stage 3's shoes, is that it's not an accident, and it's not. They literally sat down with the intent of trying to design shoes that look like something is wrong with them, right? They look like her toes are supposed to be there, but they're not. But they're actually, it's not a mistake. They're actually designed that way. That's dumb, right? That is stupid. Like someone had to it's not the same thing as Hokusai, right? Now Hokusai is another thing, and Hokusai shoes are fucking stupid too. But because that's the whole. I gotta stress this. Anime and fantasy. It's fine. Things don't have to be super realistic. That's not the problem, right? I don't care if Leonidas wants to fight with his shirt off. I don't care if you want to have like a female knight in high heels. I don't care, right? But there is a difference between style versus idiocy, right? It's not that there's a huge difference between Leonidas being, I'm not wearing a shirt, right? Versus Leonidas trying to use, the spear the wrong way, right? Where he's holding the sharp bit and hitting people with the shaft, right? That's stupid. Right? That's idiocy, right? That I don't like. I don't care if Leonidas wants to fight with his shirt off and it's like a style thing, right? And it's the same with Hokusai. Hokusai's shoes are idiocy. It's not just fancy shoes, it's high heels without heels. That's so dumb, right? Like you're just trying to be weird at that point, right? That's like, oh, look at this, right? That's so fucking stupid, right? That's like if Blood Axe... Now, okay, if Blood Axe was a joke servant, let's say they added a Blood Axe variant for Summer, right? And it's like a joke that he's so stupid he doesn't know how to use an axe properly, okay? That's different than if you add regular Blood Axe to the game and he's trying to be a regular berserker and everything about the character is serious, right? There's no meme, right? But he's just, for some reason, like it's serious, wields the axe backwards, like that's a fighting style or something, right? Like fuck you, that's dumb, right? Like that's just nonsense. That's like That's like you trying to hold the arrow and shoot the bow, right? Like, but then the universe treats it like it's serious, right? Like that's absurd, right? And that's like where we're at with like Hokusai, right? It's just that stupid, right? Same thing for Van Gogh and everything, right? Now, aesthetically, for example, I generally favor things that are more realistic or practical looking, just because I think it looks cool, right? I think helmets are cool and you know, armor is cool and I like weapons that are properly weighted and stuff. I don't like great swords that are larger than the person because that just looks stupid to me, right? But I don't mind if you know, people, if for style people want to, you know, have, you know, men shirtless and women in high heels and clouds over there with a sword, you know, the size of the Empire State Building, right? Sure, it's not my cup of tea, but you know, fine, that's no big deal, right? And I've seen some things that are stylized that I still like. That's fine. It's no big deal. But yeah, the idiocy stuff where you do something so ridiculous and absurd that it's not even like, you know, I never like that kind of stuff. Unless it's, I guess there are some exceptions. Here's a really good exception I can think of. This is like the best. I am so glad I thought of this example. This is such a good example. Enter the Gungeon. Not dungeon, Enter the Gungeon, right? That game is doing it right because the universe is not acting like it's serious. It's not, right? It's the game is just built from ground up trying to be ludicrous, over the top, and ridiculous. It's not like the game is not taking itself seriously, right? Because where Fate, you have loads of aspects of Fate that are taking things very seriously. Fate Stay Night takes itself pretty damn seriously for the most part. It really does, right? And so does APOC and all these other things. It doesn't mean there's not writing mistakes and all these other stuff, but you know, they don't like have Imio reverse gripping swords, you know, just for the lulz, right? They're trying to make it a serious thing. It's not, by the way. Reverse gripping swords is completely stupid and has absolutely no positives, and it doesn't work in any way. But that, not daggers, by the way. But where Enter the Gungeon is not like that at all. There is no aspect of that game that is trying to be serious, or even it's not even trying to sell a serious aesthetic, or a, how do you put it, like it's not trying to be authentic, right? Mountain Blade is not realistic, but Mountain Blade is trying to be authentic, right? Enter the Gungeon is not. You know, the name gives it all away. You have guns that fire guns, right? The bullets fire bullets, right? That you have the bird gun is everything's a gun. Everything is a gun, right? The ammo is a gun. The gun is a gun. Like it's called Enter the Gungeon for a very good reason, right? At no point is the game taking itself seriously. So in that context, it's fine, right? So if you have a game that's like, you know, trying to be over the top and silly and stupid, you know, having someone hold the axe by the blade and swing the shaft is fine, right? You know, if you're trying to like, you know, be kind of satirical or whatever, and you're going like really like, you know, afros the size of, you know, Empire State Buildings, totally fine, right? But if you're trying to be somewhat serious, it's okay to be stylistic, it's okay to be anime, it's okay to, you know, you don't need to be realistic at all, that's fine. But you need to not be, there's a difference between style and lunacy, right? There's a real difference there. And that's, I think FGO's really kind of missed the mark recently, where they're trying to push the boundaries more, because they've already done these certain styles of design, and they're trying to be like, oh, look at this. Look, you thought this was crazy, look how crazy this is. And it's just gotten to the point of it just being kind of absurd, right? You know, you go from having like just high heels to high heels with no heels, right? You go, you know, it's just, they just start getting really dumb, right? The final boss that we just fought was a fucking baby in a capsule robot, okay? Right? That just happened, right? When people try to say Fate's always been like this, I'm like, no, it hasn't. Like, look at Fate Zero, look at Fate Stay Night, look at Fate Extra. Fate Extra, from like the core of the series, was a bit more out there. At no point in Fate Extra was it that ridiculous. You know, they did not jump the shark that hard at all, right? Now I feel like we've just, you know, jumping the shark was like, you know, that was years ago, and now we're so far gone, I don't even know what the hell it is anymore sometimes. But they still do serious stuff too. It's not like it's always this ridiculous stuff, but it definitely is quite often. Okay, we're gonna have to actually play somewhat meta here because our Mystic Code is really bad, and we had a little bit of bad luck there. I almost want to try to insta-kill that guy, but he's probably considered a boss, so it probably won't work. Well, Deermid can evade. Fuck, I should not have used my Pierce Vulnerability then. Well, please kill it. Most events in FGO are a lot less serious, and that's fine. I'll say that is, if you're gonna jump the shark, do it in an event. Although there's still a degree of going too far, and I think that's kind of the case sometimes. Not all FGO events though are silly. They do serious ones occasionally, not often, but they've had a variety of events that are pretty serious and more in line with what you might see from a book or an anime or the main story, right? But it's true, yeah. There's an obvious disparity between like what they do for main story and what they do in events. We would not have fought a baby in a giant robot capsule machine, right? In Lost Belt 5. That will just never happen, right? So there is, you know, some degree of quality control here, but still, even when they were being silly, right? They used to not be that silly, so that's kind of the point I'm getting at here. I mean, 4.5 still had a degree of nonsense in it, but it was more serious than what they normally do, I'd say. We might lose this. If, what's sad is if he doesn't kill us here. Okay, that looked kind of cool, by the way, but if he had not killed us there, and we got now, then we'd win for sure. Okay, so here's what we gotta do. We literally have to win right now. It's all about burst damage. Use our Buster up. This is gonna be close. We got, if we crit, we're looking good, and if we insta-death, we're looking good. Oh, we crit. Okay, that's good. Still gonna be tough though, because neutral, we don't have art up, we don't have attack up. Get the defense down though. I'm okay with that. Nope, didn't get it. Maybe he'll debuff? No, fuck. You know, if we had brought a normal Mystic Code, we would have won. Like, very much so. If I had brought a normal Mystic Code, we would have won. Actually, I'm gonna give her another shot at this, and we're gonna bring a normal Mystic Code and see if she can get that. Okay, we'll use reds again just to keep the stats the same and everything. If I can summon red again. Yeah, chat, that was the problem. I lost that because I need to enhance my craft essences and shit, right? Gotta level up some units. That was the problem. It wasn't that I was, you know, intentionally playing at neutral. It wasn't that I was soloing and not using a full team. It wasn't the fucking Mystic Code. It wasn't any of that stuff. No. I gotta level my craft essences. I'm gonna BRB real quick. I need to get water. I'm gonna grab a snack too.
戦いは苦手だが、これもまた世界の断りですか。
Okay, so I might be preaching to the choir, but I think I have a really good argument for like why, because I see a lot of people acting like, you know, why does FGO need difficult content? I think I have a really good answer to this. So there's many reasons I think, but this is a big one. So one, I'm always an advocate for FGO for a lot of the difficult content being optional. For you know, that's fine. By all means, put rewards behind it, but you don't need to force people to like, I gotta beat Zeus right now. I gotta. It's not about streaming content, not at all. Although I guess that kind of plays into what I'm going to talk about. But so for FGO specifically, a lot of community stuff and a lot of like stuff you can learn personally is tied to difficulty if you realize it or not. It doesn't matter what you level up. It doesn't matter if you understand your roster. It doesn't. None of these things matter. Skill ranks don't matter. NP ranks don't matter. If there's nothing to test it on, right? If there's nothing to put you to the test, right? Why care about leveling up your skills if it's super easy to murder everything even if you don't level up your skills? Like, what does it matter? Hey, I like the 1, 2, 3. Thank you for the 31 month. That's a thick resub there. Thank you for the resub though. I appreciate it. So for example, and I'm biased here because one, I like difficult content, and two, I actually benefit off of this community aspect I'm about to talk about. So, you know, biasm, hashtag not sponsored though. So like, the reason people care about tier lists, or the reason they want like my opinion or someone else's opinion about a new unit, or why they look up a video to like how to beat a boss, is because it is hard, and because there are things to think about and things to learn and things to understand, and because there is nuance. If the game is just piss easy and I can just mash the screen, then who cares? Why care about grailing? Why care about skill ranks? Why care about any of that, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So I think games are a lot more alive, and I think they're a lot more engaging when there's an aspect of them that, you know, kind of, you know, pushes you a bit. And again, for FGO, because there is such a large part of FGO that people like farming and they like just chilling and stuff, FGO does not need to be Dark Souls where you boot up the game, you don't know what the controls are, and some guy starts beating you to death, right? It doesn't need to be that, of course not. But, you know, having, you know, aspects of it where there are challenge and things that can, you know, make it matter to who should I level, what skill ranks should I level, what, you know, learning these things is interesting, and like, oh, I've learned this thing now, I kind of see this style of boss kind of rewards this style of thing, so I should look out for that. You know, that's an enjoyable part of video games. And what scares me is the only, according to them, literally according to them, the only reason FGO ever got proper boss fights, like challenge quests and, you know, Gwaine and Zeus and all that, the only reason we got that stuff was because of Nasu personally. Not because of Aniplex, not because of Titan Moon, not because of DW. It was specifically Nasu. Because Nasu is a big fan of Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all these games. And he likes challenge, and he wants FGO to be like a proper video game. And if you look at interviews from before FGO, he's honestly never really liked those kind of like cow clicker, you know, cookie clicker style games. And he likes, you know, good game design. He likes things you can sink your teeth into. That's what he likes. And so he wanted FGO to be more like that and have an aspect of that. And that's why we have them, right? And I think we've got awesome bosses thanks to that, and so I'm very happy. But, you know, Nasu's is probably going to step away from FGO at 3.0, and he's still going to be involved, but he's not going to be involved as much. So I worry, as I talk about, like, all the benefits of a challenge tower and a boss rush mode and all these things that you can do and how it can be useful in the game on many different levels, I feel like without Nasu, potentially there's not a very good chance for us to ever see those things. Now, of course, there's lots of new people working on FGO now, and, you know, plenty of people can have good ideas, but they have to have good ideas in the right place, and in the chain of command and everything. So I don't know if we're gonna, you know, get, you know, good stuff or not. It's hard to say. But I do think, I'd imagine DW and Aniplex and stuff has probably seen the wisdom of challenge quests and stuff. It does incentivize people to care about single target units and for whales to show off, you know, oh, I can 3-turn it and all that stuff, you know, that gets whales to, you know, try to NP5 everything and all that stuff. There's a lot of things that benefit them for their being challenged in their games as well, and on many levels, right? So I would hope they've learned you do want a degree of challenge, because the game is so shallow without it. Like, I really stand by that. I think video games without any degree of challenge are very shallow, with a few exceptions, but exceptions prove the rule, right? So, you know, you play a really story-driven game, like I remember there was a game where you're like you're like a firefighter on like a nature preserve or something. I never played it, but I saw it, and you know, it's a completely narrative-driven game for the most part, and like maybe exploration to a little bit, but you know, games like that have their place, absolutely, and that's fine. Yeah, Firewatch, I think that was it. And so you have, you know, more story-driven games, more like visual novel-style games, that's all fine, but that's again, exceptions. But if you have like a high degree of interactivity and like gameplay mechanics and things like that, it needs to have a degree of challenge, right? Otherwise, it's window dressing. And that's kind of how I feel like about the BlazBlue game right now. And I think the BlazBlue game can still bail itself out. It has some core mechanics that could be more interesting in the proper context. But a lot of the quote-unquote mechanics in BlazBlue, their game, don't matter. It doesn't matter if you click this button or that button. It doesn't matter if you're optimal with your skills or you're not optimal with your skills. The game is so fucking easy. You can just mash whatever character is counterclassing and click their button over and over again, and you'll win as long as you leveled up enough. All these gameplay mechanics are window dressing, and they don't actually mean anything, right? So that's not good. It feels super shallow, and I think that BlazBlue game's gonna die. I don't think it's gonna make it. I mean, we'll see. I know I like the BlazBlue IP. I hope they turn it around. They make good decisions and they had good content and everything. But I'm not. If I was a betting man, I would not bet on that game surviving a long time. And even if it does survive a long time, it's gonna coast. It's never gonna like make waves by any means. I haven't really heard any backlash for 5. I mean, I've seen individuals say they don't like Lost Belt 5, but overall, as a community, I don't think people minded 5.2 that much. I don't think it was like their casual fan base's favorite, but I didn't see any real significant backlash to it. Do I evade right now? Do I think I can get my evade back if I evade right now? What have I been doing? I feel like I've been autopiloting. I must not have gotten any cards when my taunts were alive, so I haven't killed anything. I'm going to get NP'd soon, so I have to save my evade. Well, that's pretty shitty. I gotta take this stage at least somewhat seriously here, or I'm gonna fucking die. Talking about challenging video games, by the way. Over here getting Shiki blasted in the face, because I'm not trying hard enough. Although I think I got bad luck at the beginning with what's going on here. Oh, did I get NP'd last time? I was so not paying attention. I just know my health was fucked up. Now, I need to do 28k. The music knows! What the fuck? The music knows! I didn't do that. I didn't fucking do that. Chat, she's level 100. Come on, she can do 28k. She's got 20, 10, 50. We're more likely to crit than not. She got this. Shiki, you stupid son of a bitch! What are you doing? 3k, by the way. Fuck. Fujino should have won. Fujino should have won. 100%. By the way, memes aside, actually Fujino should not have won. That would have been really bad for Fujino and everyone else. Fujino losing there was actually really good for her. Toxic, yeah, a little bit. Okay, we can still run this back. Let me think. I don't know if I can run this back. That was a lot of health I just lost. Chat, I don't care. We're beating this stage with Shiki. I don't care how many attempts it takes. This is happening, and it's got to be a solo, obviously. How many people here haven't actually watched K&K? There's probably a lot. I like how we didn't crit with either of those. Shiki's really killing me right now. 98%. fucking great. I swear, she has the defense down. She has the fucking defense down. She's gonna kill, right? There you. Oh yeah, now you crit. You couldn't do that earlier. What? He knows. This son of a bitch. He's like, I can probably kill you in one turn when you're available, you know, open anyway. So. Wow, so now I have to make... will he do 4,700 damage to me? Because what I think is going to happen is I'm going to evade now, and I'll live, and then I won't kill him, and then he'll kill me next turn with the MP. But if I don't evade, he might crit me, because he's an assassin, and kill me anyway. Can I win next turn? That's the thing. Can I win? I have double fucking art down. I don't think I can win next turn. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we got that. Fucking Centaur. You know, this guy's related to that Centaur that fought Canis. And I know what Canis is talking about. What a rude son of a bitch. Runs in the family. 37k NP. Yep, that's the powerful shit right there. Don't you fucking chat. I'm pretty sure I have 60% art down. I guess I don't do art cards anymore. Okay, I'm changing the music to something more appropriate. He casts invincible. What the fuck? Yep, centaurs, man. Fucking centaurs. They don't even give you French bread. What a fuck. All right, we need more appropriate music. Shiki's theme is not actually appropriate to this. There we go. That's better. So. My only chance is insta-death. I cannot, it's not even one hit, it's one turn. Why is this fucking Centaur so meta? Why does he get invulnerability when he impedes? Why though? No one struggles with this stage, by the way. It's not like someone comes along and, you know, everyone like 2 turns this. Like, no one, unless you're soloing at neutral, why would any of this even matter? Like, who thought of this shit? It's fine, guys. Gramps insta-killed the million HP dragon with a normal attack. So, clearly, Shiki can insta-kill with her fucking NP. Chat, her eyes see death. But you could have fooled me, because apparently she's blind, though. Shiki, you cut the line. Did you not watch your own anime? You take knife, cut line. Bad guy die, right? Okay, so what I've learned is that if a level 100, if a level 100 Shiki doesn't crit a lot, she doesn't do 28,000 damage at neutral. I've learned that now. Okay, round 3. Red, did you just respec to make Shiki less ass? I'm pretty sure you did. I saw that immediately when I saw the star bomb and everything. I don't think we need it though. I think we just gotta get our shit straight here. Perhaps. Okay, now see, that's not the hand I wanted to see, guys. That's not the one. Watch this Leonidas star gen. By the way, especially day 1, you know, FGO has all these like tendencies where like certain classes have, you know, more star weight or less star weight or more star gen, and then like assassin is like the obvious one that has a lot more star gen, right? But they have like there's some people don't notice as much. Like, Lancers have higher star gen than a lot of other classes. Not as much as Assassin, and I think they're trying to represent the whole, like, you know, Lancers are generally more hunters and you know, athletic and stuff, and they literally say that in the class description. I don't know why. Loads of people have used spears and lances throughout history that, you know, are tanky big boys. I literally don't know where they get that, but it's a thing, right? But the amount of extra star gen that Lancers get, with like the hit count that you see on like especially day 1 units, it really doesn't fucking matter, right? You know, like Leonidas does have higher star gen than St. George, but doesn't, generally speaking, doesn't really matter. Can I get some cards, game? Holy shit, a lot of quick stuff going on right now. Red, I don't think you should have done that, because I'm pretty confident that we're gonna beat this at some point. I would be very, you know what's, this is crazy. This shows how, though, impactful. It doesn't always matter. Sometimes the damage ratios, it doesn't matter. But if I would just get Shiki cards, like a decent amount, for those first 2 hands, and I could kill one of these trash mobs, this would not be a problem, right? This would be so much easier. But because I'm not doing that, it's a fucking problem. Give me that refund, though. I really didn't think Shiki versus, you know, 2 bosses with like 140k and neutral was going to be this ordeal. But fuck, I wish he didn't insta-death. We just missed out on a 3 hit count. So we could have gotten like a chunk of MP gain back right there, and we could have made a star, potentially. And she didn't kill him. This is George's fault. This is George's fault. That one card, you know. This isn't looking so good. Okay, so we've established that Shiki can't do 28k damage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kill the 1k one and try to make a lot of stars so I fucking crit. And why did you have to put the star bomb on the art card? Okay, what do I do here? We have overkill. I think I quick anyway. Do I though? I think these guys don't invulnerability, I don't think. I think these guys defense up. I mean, 4 stars is a lot. That might have been one of the rare times that QAQ is good. I was thinking overkill though, but I guess the enemy was low enough on health that we are so dead right now. AQQ, yeah, probably AQQ in that case. It is very rare that quick card first is better star gen. Some people act like it's never right, and that's actually wrong. There abso-fucking-lutely are times that quick card first is better star gen, but it's not very common. Unless it's an NP. If it's an NP, okay, we'll just, I don't want to refresh a million times. And better CE. He's lost this 3 times in a row, by the way. I want to point out the main thing that's killing. Okay, see now we get the we get cards. See now we're just that. Now we're like set up so much more for success right now. Like, this is so much better because we got cards right there. Because even if I don't kill that guy, which we almost did, but even if we don't kill that guy in time, which I think we will now, but we would kill it after the NP, which is good enough. Fucking Christ, though. How many attempts is it gonna take Shiki to fucking beat this? I think she's got it now. That's a pretty big value up for us. I think we got it. Because see, now the extra damage off the NP will go into that guy, which means I can kill him before he fucking NPs me. Because we just kept getting NP'd over and over again. Please don't insta-kill. Golden Sumo is 3 out of 5. That is so painful. She insta-killed again. She's just trying to lose right now. So that actually might matter because we're going to be cutting it close on NP gain here. Hopefully something crits. If she didn't insta-kill, she'd have her NP right now. Like, abso-fucking-lutely, if she did not insta-kill, it's 3 hits. 3 hit on art is fucking definitely, you know, we only need 4% because of the roundup. She's 4% NP short. Like, of course she would have gotten it if she did the fucking fuck. Remember when I said cut the lines? I wasn't talking about those guys, right? I was talking about these guys. I think I have to use my 3rd skill, which kind of sucks. I would have really preferred to have used it for the next one, but having to wait a turn here is just awful. And we didn't crit! Oh my god, we made so many stars there too. I like how we got 95% again. Exact same number. Could have killed, could have looped again, by the way, if anything had crit. If anything had crit, we would have got our MP there. It's great. What do I guess I make stars. But fuck it, we're doing that. She can do AK. I mean, legit though, Buster first means overkill sooner, so... Oh no, we crit though. We probably got overkill really fast there too, so this is fine. But overkill can really be useful when it comes to star gen and NP gain and everything. Okay, we got the art down, but that's kind of just expected at this point. I can get rid of the art down, but I have to do the wonkiest combo ever, and I don't think it's worth it. So the biggest factor to why we're winning right now, though, is legit us just getting cards before our taunts died. Like, the difference on, like, CE and all that is not, you know, it helps, sure, but we would have won anyway. Like, the difference is just the cards early on. Also, we have learned a few things, like when we should evade and when we shouldn't. I definitely was not playing right until... Oh my god. I don't want to fucking lose again. I swear to god. Okay, now I think we get rid of the debuff. Wait. We lost again. We fucking lost again. Oh my god. Do I have to bring Atlas? Do I have to bring fucking Atlas? So I might kill him first. I might seriously kill this guy first. Dear Mid takes longer to NP anyway. I'm just so scared of giving Dear Mid 3 actions per turn because there's so many things he can cast that are so annoying. The fucking centaurs, dude. They rip trees out of the ground and they punch people into the underworld. I just... Oh my god. I can't fucking believe I lost again. I might go Atlas just because getting Pierce Vulnerability again is probably more useful than anything else that we can do. But the heal is nice because their normal card damage is surprisingly high. There's like 300 Shikis on my list, and I can't get any of them. I wonder how Curse Arm would do in comparison. The Shiki's obviously having a hard time here, and that would be really interesting to see how Curse Arm does. Because his damage is definitely lower, but he will crit more, and he has a noticeable extra chunk of survivability. There's no significant difference between the two Shikis. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna summon whichever one I see because I don't want to spend 30 minutes in the support screen. Thanks. Bosses almost never have the danger tag because they're like already held at a different stat line, if that makes any sense. The danger thing is like this is stronger than the normal thing you would see like of this on a trash mob and stuff. Which is certainly true. That guy is obviously tougher than what we've been seeing. Okay, not as good as last time because we didn't kill this one, but he's low enough that we will certainly kill him after our NP. Mario, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Oh my god. Just hit Leonidas' forehead. If they hit Leonidas, it's not that bad. I wouldn't say it's good, because I'm supposed to NP this turn. I'm supposed to NP with an art, right? But I can't because George didn't die, so I don't get the battery. No. No! You fucking... Canis was right. Canis was right. I thought it was kind of weird that she would just randomly bring up the Centaur that killed her, right? When she's talking about manners. But I get it now. It's not random at all. That makes total sense. I absolutely get it now. Centaurs are fucking rude assholes. Racism, by the way. I cannot believe I am struggling this. Okay, all right. Game face on, right? We gotta play right. We gotta pick the right cards here. Let's not make any fucking mistakes. Not great luck at the start there, but it's not terrible luck either. Now, look, there's a degree of luck that you can't make up for. Like when you're pushing it on value, you know, even if you play really well, there's a certain... There are 10 cards in the deck is what I'm saying. There's 10 cards in the deck, 5 of them are Shiki cards, right? And the deck shuffles when someone dies, okay? Like, bruh. Don't worry, guys, don't worry. Lancers have more star gen, guys. See, so he's gonna make more stars. Totally got this. See, the stands are empty because they know this is a shit show. Please tell me that we can at least, after all of that horseshit, can you at least do 15k with art 3 of a kind bonus extra? Like, for God's sakes. And just don't insta-kill. We don't need that right now. Just hit the fucking horse. Don't cut the lines, just stab him in the eye. Thank God. Okay, crit. Okay. Oh, please. Alright, we at least killed the ad. What's so fucked is if we didn't crit, we wouldn't have killed that guy. So... if I don't kill him, I need to evade. If we crit a lot, we will kill him. If you haven't noticed, the crit spread is pretty fucking random. He has the 1k flat damage now, though. I'm going for it. 50, 50, 40. And then the 1k flat damage is really good here. Did anyone see that his NP is called Sword of Protection? You know, it's very, very fancy, right? He picked it up the side of the road and was like, I'm naming this Sword of Protection, and all the other Centaurs are like, yeah, sure, Bob, okay, great. I swear to God. They're not protecting Shiki's face, I'll tell you that. Okay, I have to kill the Centaur Paladin first. This is stupid. Dear mid with 3 actions per turn is just gonna be so fucking dumb. Shiki, I swear to God. You got 2 50-50s there. One crit, alright? One crit. That's all I'm asking for. Why though? All of those other times! All of those other times! Why didn't you do it then? He had invulnerability. Why didn't you just do it then? We would have won. We would have won I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Every single attempt that we have done of this, she would have won if she did that. Every single fucking one of them. Right, now that I changed the strategy, now you do that so it doesn't even matter. Way to go, champ. I'm losing my mind. By the way, I'm not sure. I'd have to do this stage a lot to see. That guy may not have the insta-death resistance you see on bosses. It's probably higher than what you see on trash mobs. But I doubt that guy has the insta-death resistance of bosses. If he does, then we just got ungodly lucky. Like, he's certain, because we've NP'd him enough times, he certainly has more insta-death than like a trash mob, but... Yeah, I know she might lose again. It depends on what Dearmid's damage output is like. So, he doesn't have an NP, so I think I just evade now. Because, I'm either gonna win or lose before it's NP time anyway. So I might as well not just get, you know, Buster crit blown up this turn, right? So I might as well. What I'm worried about though is, because he has 3 actions per turn, I think he's going to evade, and I don't have Piercing Vulnerability anymore. And we're fun. Yeah, if you can insta-kill this one, that would be great. Great, he fucking guarded the defense down. That actually really matters, because we're pushing it on damage big time. We didn't crit with anything, and we did not apply the defense down. Thank God he just triple attacked us. Okay, we fucking win. If he had evaded there, we would have lost. Oh my God. Why was that so... This is... See, here's the thing. If you try to solo this with a stronger solo unit, like maybe Ku or, you know, something like that, the RNG won't matter, right? You have enough wiggle room that if things go really bad, you know, you'll still be able to handle it. But we were really pushing it on value, right? We were really pushing it on value there. And, it meant the RNG mattered a lot, right? Because we weren't really comfortable in our kill rate there. What the thing is, they just had really high normal card damage, right? They had they didn't have that much health, but my God, they just had so much more normal card damage than you would generally expect out of a fucking strengthening quest of all things. Good Lord, we lost that like what, 6 times? Can we have our French bread now? Like a croissant in here or something? Jesus. Good buff though. My God, we have so many strengthening quests to do. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna wrap up soon, but we'll do a couple of dragons here. Cause all right, to be fair, we'll nuke all of the invites. So the thing is, there's almost no being fair, because what happens is, while I'm nuking these invites so I can let everyone in chat have a fair shot at it, people are sending invites, so these people being removed can't send their invite again like everyone else. What I wish I could do was turn the invites off and no one was allowed to send me an invite. and then I could remove everyone, and then I could 3, 2, 1, go, right? And that way everyone has time to punch in the numbers and everything else, right? But there's no way, because FGO just doesn't, you know, give you any options like that. There's nothing I can really do to give everyone a fair shot. The best thing I can say is don't send me an invite early. If you don't send me an invite until I say I'm about to do it, because otherwise you're probably going to get removed and you're not going to have time to send it to when I'm actually doing it, right? I know it sucks, but I don't know what else to say, right? Like it's the best I can do for it to be fair. But yeah, we're only going to do the dragon once or twice here. I don't have a whole lot of time, but it's fun to check. I really do enjoy seeing people's support lists. That's actually my favorite part of it. Never mind the dragon. Alright, I'm just going to reset the game real fast. Hopefully we got some invites in there. But I'm lucky people send me invites at all, though, right? You know, most people wouldn't be able to close and open their support list and have a bunch of invites in there and get to check out a bunch of people's accounts and everything, so I can't bitch. I mean, I can, watch me, but I shouldn't. Alright, I guess we add the top 2, because I think we can only do 2. Yeah, I guess we just add the top 2. I don't remember, though, how it rates it, like, and who sent it first. Man, there's some cool shit in here, actually. Even a Tomoe in here. But yeah, we'll do the top 2. I guess that's the best I can do. Besides, although Herc's gonna be so boring. Like, who the fuck wants to see Herc here? Although, what's interesting about this, though, is... Okay, hold on. I'll talk about it when we actually get in the game. But see... No, I'll say it now, because it might take forever to get his account to show up. This guy hasn't been playing very long. This guy is... hey, Finn, thank you for the gifted sub to Zaw, and Zaw obviously deserves it, so... but this guy hasn't been playing very long. Wait. This must be an ult account. He's level 117, so... in terms of hours played, that's quite low. But he has golden sumo. So, this must be an ult account. That's the only way that I can figure out you being 117... but having golden sumo of all things, right? Because it's kind of old, so I'm assuming ult account. But I was gonna say it's interesting that, you know, he's a newer account and is focusing so much on Herc, right? That's like not a bad idea, and he's got him 10 to 10 and everything. But I guess it's just an ult. I've been playing for 3 years on an A at least, but I guess pretty casually then, because 117 in 3 years is pretty abnormal, I would say. Nothing wrong with it though. I mean, use your free time however the fuck you want. Wait, that's the wrong one. Focus on JP. Yeah, that makes more sense now. Man, so this song is from Soul Worker, which I really enjoyed that game. There's some really fun boss fights in that game, and Jin is a playable character, and he's super fun. Love that game. But it's already shutting down in America. It's shutting down like next month. It's still running just fine in like Korea and Japan and stuff like that. It's doing pretty well over there, but the North American version was ran so badly though. They like would not catch it. They just were so random about like what content they would localize, and there was like new characters have been added for years, and they had never put them in the North American version and stuff, and just total shit show. All right, so it was that one and then the Herc guy. So we'll do this one because it popped up, but we'll try to do the Herc one as well. I like how they both have golden sumo. Let me look at the account here when I'm messing it up. But yeah, Soul Worker already dying in an A. It's pretty messed up. Okay, let's see. Who is max grailed? Lubu is max grailed. Nukhead is max grailed, as I think that's the symbol for that. And then looks like Jinkei is not max grailed, and Sherlock is max grailed. Here, I'm gonna move my thing so I can actually see their NP ranks. That helps a lot. Okay. So Sherlock is only NP1. Because you probably don't play too much, I'm gonna say the only thing that is fully 2K foed is Lu Bu. And then maybe you're working on Nukehead, and maybe Nukehead is max foe, but I'm thinking those are the only two ones, and the only one that's max is Lubu. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, I have it set up so I can't see their stats. Okay, I think I got it backwards. I bet you Nukehead is maxed and Lubu is just now being worked on or something. Yep, okay. Well, I was kind of close. I'm guessing you just didn't want to put an AoE Lancer up against the dragon right now. So what people are hoping, because the normal developer of Soul Worker does not publish the North American version, some people think they're going to make a global version. They're shutting down the licensed one that they licensed out to this other publisher, and they might make a global version. I actually think they should, because the people that are publishing it in North America suck. Like, they fucking suck, and they do a terrible job. And I think that game could do pretty well if it was marketed better, and you know, it had more like, you know, proper support and stuff. Especially with how big Genshin is and everything, I think that game could do pretty well. So I'm hoping that the original creators are going to make a global version, and it's going to come back, and it'll be better than ever. Because Jesus, I enjoyed that game. But let's see, everyone's 10, 10, 10. The CEs all make super sense. Seriously, these are all really good CE picks. Yeah, good shit. Alright, Lubu time. Well, Lubu is not going to live a long time, so definitely this thing for him. Oh, Holmes is also 2K vote? I should have checked. I didn't look. I didn't think he was because he was in P1, but yeah, he was max Grailed, so it makes sense. Terrible opening hand. So that's... I forgot to bring a Rosh, so that actually matters. God damn it, might have to reset because of that. Really need Lubu cards now, because if we had killed one of those golems in turn 1, we would be fine, but looks like we're gonna get a hit, so I'm gonna have to reset. That's why I bring a Rosh here, so it's not RNG. It's not so... if everyone got hit, it would be fine. The thing is like sometimes you'll get hit, sometimes you won't. You want it to be like the same thing every time. That's why I bring a Rosh. Even playing field. Yeah, Lubu's animation update's pretty cool. Oh my god, it just takes so long to get this. I gotta remove more people, man. Like, it's just ridiculous. You try to use someone specific and you just can't. Like, this is why I'm so picky on JP and everything, is because it's like, it is so difficult to summon specific people. And it's no one wants to spend this much time refreshing a support list, right? It sucks. I didn't bring a Rosh again. Oh my god, and that means what's so lame is there is a bailout option. If you just get lucky on turn 1, it's fine, right? Like if you just happen to get like Lubu's Buster card, it's fine. But of course, we get one quick card. More FP, yep. I mean, people always say he's a robot. Nothing says Lubu's a robot. Nothing. Literally nothing in FGO, nothing in event, nothing in story, nothing in character material. That's not a thing. It's just berserker shit. Now maybe they've been 5-heading us this whole time and it's been like their plan this whole time, but... See, now, look at this. Now we don't need a Rosh, because I probably can kill one of them. Like, if I did Buster, you know, quick art, I'd probably kill it. Now, because we do have a Rosh, I have no reason to do that, so I'm gonna do this instead. But, yeah, if this had happened last game, it would have been fine. Actually, look, he's gonna kill it anyway. Hell, he just needs a Buster card. I think if he just has a Buster card, you can kill one of them. That's all you need to have happen to not need a Rosh, is get a fucking Buster card. That's it. kind of like all of Lubu's stages. I'd go with 3 just because it's so extreme. And like, he's already so extreme, like, fuck it, just go, you know, go 100%, right? You know, go home, so. Wow, Arash, okay. Well, good thing we got our NP already. Blue Boo, yeah. Blue Boo is my least favorite, but it's still kind of cool, and it's just, it's like a style you wouldn't really expect to see, so I don't mind it. But yeah, I like stage 3 just because it's so fitting for how over the top he is anyway. But 1, 2, and 3 are all good. And we get lucky and get the stun. If I can NP again, I should not use my 3rd skill. The reason is it doesn't have crit up, it has star absorb. And I actually, the crit spread is very good right now. So I don't want to fuck it up. So if I can live long enough to NP one more time, I can just use the NP up on that turn. But I'm not super confident I'm going to live that long. So I guess I'm going to use it now and just hope for the best. Well, we went from 50, 100 to 70, 70. So I preferred the other one. I'm going to guess we're not going to stun, so I'm going to just cast this now. I love his MP, dude. I like it in slow-mo, though. That's one on my main account where I set to always be in slow-mo. It looks fucking awesome. And then his old MP is basically his extra attack now, right? It's great. I'm gonna bet we live here just because we have the defense up, and he just triple attacked, right? So I mean, hopefully he'll buff once. We could die here though if he crits or anything. We're in big trouble. But I'm gonna hope to get guts next turn. That was a lot of damage though for not having an upgraded MP, but he's got all those buffs. Wow! I like how last turn he only crit once, and the higher crit chance, and then all the buffs and stuff. Oh my god, we're gonna die. Fuck you, game. God damn it. I hate when the dragon gets like that though, because it's so rare that it happens where he just doesn't buff at all. He crits right away. He just huge normal card damage. It does not happen very often though. But yeah, we obviously could have been, you know, if we'd lived there, we could have. Because it's not just that turn. If the turn prior wasn't a triple attack, if he had buffed and stuff, we could have still lived there. But yeah, if we could have lived there and then done guts, we really could have fucked them up. That was a lot of damage, man. Alright, so I guess we have Herc without Bond CE, so this will be kind of interesting. What I'm curious is if this got an interesting support list. I want to know if this guy has Bond 10 and he's wanting to test it without, because that's actually more... Him doing with Bond CE is really boring. I can't see his Bond level, so I have no idea. So I would not put that past people to just be like, I just want to see how he does without it, right? So this is not great. We don't have rank 10 third skill. Let me think. Probably Anniversary Blonde still then. Herc obviously can solo this, but this will be tough. We're not maxed, we don't have Bond CE, don't have level 100 CE, a lot of little fun stuff. But Herc's still pretty damn strong, even when, you know, he's in a more vanilla setting, so we'll see how we do. Yeah, Atlas is really nice here for Herc because Herc has skills that can actually go around the wheel and then the buster down and stuff. So hopefully we at least have the command code to remove the dot. That's the real killer. We didn't have that. Even if you like, it's an old account. Everybody that has Herc should always give him a dot removal command code because it's FP summon for God's sakes. It's very low bar and it affects him quite a bit. So thankfully we got that though. Jin. How you doing? I've been yelling at centaurs today. I've been yelling at virtual centaurs, excuse me. Don't crit, don't crit, don't crit, don't crit. The things I do for an extra star, man. So, we are not on JP, so I can... Wait, no. True, we're not on JP, but I was gonna say I can't cast my third skill in advance, but I actually can, because we don't have our Bond CE. The bad thing is it's not rank 10. So we're probably not gonna get it to come back anyway. $50-60. That looks really weird in fast mode. If there ever was a turn I didn't want him to buff, now is the turn, because they ever paid. Damage, though. By the way, they buffed this man for some reason. Not a bad start. If I could get one more crit here, I'd be happy. 10-10-50, it's in our favor. The rigged coin toss. Feels good. If I could get one, it's possible, a triple attack of course, but it's possible to live one more turn before Guts goes off. That would be excellent. Buff, buff, buff! God! Over 3 turns he buffed 1 time. That sucks, man. I think we might have it'd be close, but we might have yeah, we might have won. It'd be really close. Because we would have gotten our MP again. If he had not popped Guts there. I think we still would have been a bit short. But it would have been close, man. Because I would have gotten to it. Whatever we have met now, we'd get another. We'd have one more, right? And it'd be an NP one, and we'd have our attack up. Yeah, actually, I think if he had just double attacked there, or buffed one more time on any other turn, because he only buffed once ever. For this whole thing, only buffed once ever. Yeah, if he had buffed one more time anywhere in the fight, I think we would have won. Like I do think we would kill him next turn. Yeah, especially because we just crit there and we get our attack buff next turn. Yeah, I think we would have won next turn. Unfortunate. Pretty good though for not having a skills max, not having a Bond CE and C's not max, all that stuff's very. It's like Herc's good. I mean, look at that. Look, it's just that good when he's not even not good luck, not maxed out, no Bond CE, and he still did that good. It's crazy, dude. Yeah, I'm quite sure you could beat that without a Bond CE if you could just set him up and maybe get a little lucky. But on JP, I bet you he could do it without a Bond CE without getting lucky. Because then he works better with Atlas and all that, and you can get the Guts back really easy and stuff. Alright boys, that was fun. We will absolutely do more of that. Next time we'll try to show off some more units and do more nonsense. I really do enjoy looking at people's accounts. What we might do is, as we do strengthening quests, use chat units more and check out their accounts that way. Although I guess there's a chance we'll get news from JP tonight. I'm not sure. I don't know if they announced anything. But we haven't had news on JP in a while, and the event's about to end. So, or is it? I thought it was going to end. It's either ends today or something like that. I know it's soon-ish. Anyway, hopefully we get news soon. So if JP does something, I might play that instead. But who knows? Might have a while. It ends in 2 minutes. Yeah, that's right. I thought it ended. Anyways, lads, thank you for hanging out. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. And have a... Wait. I should raise somebody. Excuse me. What will we raid here? Ore Toho, haven't rated him in a while. Alright, lads. Peace!